Hello and welcome to the deepest dive from MinnMax, the best, most thorough discussion about Super Mario 64 on the internet. I'm here with laughing best friend Ronnie.
Hello!
Yeah, I noticed a quick snicker. Do you want to explain, sir?
I just found your opening just jarring. I didn't know we were starting this early, so
hey, it's the
here
deepest.
we go.
It's the deepest dive, and we're jumping off that diving board and getting into this sucker. We have Dan Reichert.
Hello, how are you?
Really well. How you doing, man?
Never been better.
You know, I forget who it was. At some point, somebody looked at like the little toys and stuff in the old MinnMax studio, and they said that maybe it was even you. They said that, oh, it looks like if Ben Hansen died, this would be the shrine you'd create to try and revive him. And I feel like that is exactly what's going on behind you.
Well, no, I think we couldn't revive Ben Hansen without this guy here.
Oh, so Dan is holding up for the audio listeners a liquid snake model. Anna Diaz is here as well. Thank you for being here, Anna.
There's a story.
Anna, let me tell you a
Hello,
story
everyone.
about some real peak BS from the year 2015, where Dan Reichert and Tim Turry and I went to Japan. It was a lovely time. And it was for the cover story Rebekah Game Informer for Metal Gear Solid 5, mainly Ground Zeroes, but Metal Gear Solid 5 in there. Mm-hmm. And so we got to interview Kojima. It was great. And then, you know, the studio, they were all very nice. There's a couple hijinks and stories in there, but we'll save those for a different podcast. But then Kojima had like 3 gift bags that had like, I think it was like a Metal Gear Rising Revengeance t-shirt in there, stuff like that. And so he handed the 3 gift bags to us, whatever it was. And then we got back to the hotel, opened it up, and it's like, oh, Dan happened to get Liquid Snake. I think I got a model of Raiden. I was like, sure. Yeah. But Dan was adamant that, oh, Kojima handed me this Liquid Snake model, so I am keeping this one. Even though it's like, Liquid Snake is my favorite character, I feel like we should leave it up to like drawing straws, a coin toss, but Dan's like, he handed it to me.
You're underselling how much of a dick I was, Hanson.
Oh, please,
You're actually underselling that. It was way more calculated than that. You see, we were standing there, and I saw him walking up with the 3 bags, and I could see into the bags, and I was like, oh, one of those is a Liquid Snake.
Well, Dan, actually, it's funny. You're actually underselling it. He actually originally had 8 bags, and then he killed off 6 of them for strong genetic growth.
Right, that's right. Oh, okay, that's a good joke. I saw the one that was Liquid Snake, and I was like, oh, shit. If me, Tim, and Ben are standing like this, and he hands them out like this, I'm in position to get the Revengeance Raiden, which, Revengeance, great game and everything, but Liquid Snake, he's my dude. And so I did something where I went over to act like I was like telling Tim something like, hey, Tim, how about that thing with the work? And then I positioned myself so I would get the Liquid Snake. So it wasn't just that he handed it to me and you wanted it. I specifically weaseled my way in so I would get it instead of you. That's what happened.
That's right.
That's cool.
And then Dan got the biggest slice of cake at the birthday party. It really sounds like we're just absolute stupid children here, Dan.
It led to me hearing you do the baby voice again, so maybe none of it was worth
it. Oh, boy. Ron, do you think we're all kind of just big kids at heart?
Yeah.
That's right. Hey, and we're here to play games like kids do. We're talking about Super Mario 64. This is a game club discussion. We took Super Mario 64, sliced it into 3 big pieces of a wonderful cake, just a Dairy Queen ice cream cake of fun. And then we're talking about each in a very in-depth way. This is the final discussion covering basically the upstairs area in Super Mario 64. So everything after the second Bowser fight. If you would like to unlock the podcast version of this this discussion, you can by supporting MinnMax at MinnMax? Wait, no. Patreon.com/MinnMax. 2 ends at the $5 tier. You unlock the podcast version of this, early access to the MinnMax show, a bunch of other exclusive stuff. Ronnie's letting out a long sigh.
No, I was just thinking you should breathe.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks for that reminder. Do you want to be on all MinnMax content and then just pop in every once in a while and remind me to breathe?
Yeah, breathe. Just if your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, just relax it. Whatever. Put your shoulders down. I can't remember. It was something.
I feel like I'm starting a yoga class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that tongue thing? I've never heard that. Is it a genuine tip about relaxing?
Yeah, it's like if your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, like relax it, relax your shoulders. Or,
in through the nose, out through the mouth.
I get that. But who keeps their tongue on the roof of their mouth?
Do that body scan 5 times a day, and you will find out that 5 times a day your tongue is resting on the roof of your mouth.
I believe it.
Really?
Ronnie.
That seems absurd. Yeah. All right, I'll check it out. You know Pete Holmes, the comedian? He has that podcast, You Made It Weird and stuff. He's it takes a while to get into him, but now I'm a fan of that podcast. But he had a stand-up special, and his last one, I think the second half of it is really good and just weird and thoughtful in a very bizarre way. But he just was talking to the full crowd at this stand-up performance, and he's like, all right, everyone in the crowd, I want you to just check for me, do you have to go to the bathroom right now? And I'll just wait. And then he waits like 10 seconds, and he goes, what did you just do, everybody? Like, what, you just send more atoms down to your bladder? Like, what physically happened to check if you have to go to the bathroom right now? And it's a very fun little thought experiment. Yeah. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're reading comments from Patreon, from people that played through the last third of Super Mario 64. Boy, we got a lot of comments, and we always like to play a game called Most Common Comment. What was the most frequent comment that people submitted on that Patreon? Ronnie, what do you think?
How about that rainbow ride?
Okay. Dan?
Hiding behind the penguin.
Okay.
When the snowman's blowing the stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. Anna?
I think it's rainbow ride as well.
There were a lot of people talking about rainbow ride. I think most common comment was basement defenders. It was people writing in saying, you all said the basement levels sucked. Well, get a load of this. Like, a lot of people complaining about this last batch of levels and saying we gave the basement a bad rap by throwing that under the bus just because we didn't like the sand level.
I think, okay, this is in the middle. If the first batch of levels is the best, the basement is the worst.
Yes.
There's some good stuff here. At least there's variety. I feel like with the basement, it's like, okay, it's the desert and it's a lava land. People don't like that. There's this weird cave. Whereas this one, even if you don't like the rainbow ride or anything, at least there's that variety. One's a clock. One's a snow level. One's a, it's different.
It feels like it gets away from just brutal and just gives you, hey, here's some environments to play around in a little bit again, which feels like a relief after the basement levels.
Yeah, some of my favorite levels are actually in here, and we won't get into them or into a huge conversation about this yet, but the water level with the hidden town.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite level.
Yeah, we will get into it. Thomas is with you saying, by far, this is my favorite chunk of levels in the entire game. The game is done teaching you at this point and is just freaking awesome on all levels. That's fair. Andrew Burns is kicking off this train here saying, I thought we were a bit harsh on the basement levels, guys, but they seem like the best levels ever designed if you're playing through this batch. Woof! Even the better ones like Tall Mountain and Wet Dry World are worse than anything in the basement. Then you have Rainbow Ride and Tock Clock, which are absolutely brutal. I did end up getting all 120 stars and had a good time overall, but Super Mario 64 is just one of those games that gets worse as it goes, unfortunately. I don't think that's true necessarily. I think a lot of people that were really frustrated by this game, Tyler Sticka was also thinking that the game got worse as it went on. I think the main complainers were people that were going for 120 stars. I think
I'm doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, never mind.
I do that in all 3 games. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people just get burned out on doing like the 100 coin stuff, and especially in these final levels, you're like, that's it. I hit my breaking point here.
Yeah.
No, I've been liking it all. Like even the frustrating ones, it's just like in Sunshine, I'm doing all the blue coin stuff. Like I just like doing that completionist aspect of the 3D Mario games, and even when it's a pain in the ass, it's still fun. Every time you get a star, it feels good. I've got I think I'm at 80 or 90 in every one of the 3 games now, and still having a blast. Probably gonna do it after this. Loving it.
Oh wow, Ronnie, I know you're feeling ambitious in your quest. How did the last third treat you?
Just great. 120 stars over here.
Woo! Wow. Well done.
Yeah. I think it was Tuesday night. I think I got 36 or 40 stars.
Wow.
And that was, I sent Ben a text message, I think, at my lowest point when I was trying to get 100 coins on Rainbow Ride. And I asked him, how important is it that I get 120 stars?
Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, scale of 1 to 10, and what did you say again?
This is very important for the record. Please get this right. I gave it a 5. Like, it'd be nice, but whatever.
Yeah, it was a 5, which I felt like for you was actually that's a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
The Minnesotan 5.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's very clear math. So you're pushing.
Yeah,
you're really trying to reach this rainbow.
I was pushing.
Okay, well, we're all very impressed. Thank you for that lesson, Ronnie. Anna, how'd you fare in this final chunk?
I really enjoyed it mainly because of the variety. I think that like there's not just a bunch of different kinds of like zones, like you have water, snow, and sort of like mountain again.
Yeah.
But like you have sort of variation in like kind of open world spacey, like, okay, I'm kind of figuring this out, more like map navigation, to like very linear platforming, like Tock Clock as compared to like Tiny Huge World. Is it Tiny Big, Tiny Huge?
I don't know.
Huge, I think.
Little Big.
Tiny Huge.
Little
Tiny
Big
Huge.
Planet, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yes. So, which like that is like a lot of just like figuring out the 3D space. And so I feel like this section taught me like what I like and don't like now that I have had all these sections.
Yeah, it takes the final chunk of Super Mario 64 to be like, okay, this is what I came to this game for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the section of levels where I feel there's a little control quirk that I noticed more in this set than any others because it takes more precise jumping.
Yeah.
And that's if you're on a small platform and you're trying to like orient yourself and turn around, basically to do like a 180-degree turn. You kind of have to hit it perfectly to like do that quick thing without the animation. Whereas if you do it wrong, he kind of does like the long way around, and that can make you like fall off of a ledge or something. So that is something that screwed me up several times.
Yeah, E.N.T. Clark says, I'm finally getting at peace with the camera controls. I found myself fighting with them much less in this portion of the game. These are by far my favorite levels. Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of coming to learn those quirks, Dan. Like even just a little thing in this game of when you're hanging on a ledge, which direction do I press to get back up versus fall down? It wasn't until like this section, like, all right, I'm feeling a little more confident about not just falling to my doom 1,000 times.
Wait, down is to fall down and up is to climb up. Where's the confusion there?
Well, no, it's always, isn't it left and right based on like where the camera's positioned?
Oh, if you're looking at it from the side?
Yeah.
I always just do up or down, and up just makes you climb
the
up.
camera is all over the place. It's again.
But if you just hit up, that's up, no matter what, right?
I don't know if that's the case. Is
it
that
not?
true?
I don't know.
No, you know what? Because I bet if you were looking at
A.
Mario's face and he was holding on to something, if you hit up, the game would probably read that as back.
Exactly.
Okay,
yes, it's a lot
I
of
see what you're
those little gimmicks. Kyle, I should say, Silva writes in and says, can we talk about how much of a pain wall jumping is? It works a lot like Super Metroid where you have to point the direction you want to jump and then jump. I don't get it. I spent such a long time wall jumping out of one of the areas in Wet Dry World. Wall jumping would later be such a neat and fun control option in the new Super Mario Brothers games, but I'd rather avoid it for all of Super Mario 64.
I think it's kind of overthinking it.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that I felt like when you get it right, it feels really good to do, and it's probably a little bit more difficult than it is in the newer Marios. But I always felt like it felt pretty good.
I don't really press a direction when I'm wall jumping, especially if it's one of those like back and forth ones. I'm just kind of like timing it more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really do too much of it. Ronnie, going for 120, do you have to do a lot more wall jumping?
You know, the one thing that I did notice with wall jumping is that you have to, like, there are times where if you're too close to the wall, he won't do the prompt to actually do the initial wall kick versus if you're doing a run up, if you don't press it, he'll hit the wall and then he'll fall down. Yeah. But you need a little bit of running space in order to get that first wall jump. And that was one thing that I remembered or learned once again. But yeah, I felt it worked pretty well. One place in Rainbow Cruise, when you're doing the either like the 100 coin challenge or the red coin challenge, you have to get up that first. You have to do like 6 wall kicks. That could be a little bit tough.
By the way, I am curious, even amongst hardcore cool gamers like the four of us, how many people now confuse the name of that level because of Smash Brothers? Because in 64, it's called Rainbow Ride, but in Smash, it's Rainbow Cruise. And I totally thought it was Rainbow Cruise too. So going into this, like, oh, that's right. Rainbow Ride is the name of this one, technically.
It is Rainbow Ride. Okay, I go back and forth between Rainbow Ride and Rainbow Cruise.
Yeah, all right. It's so odd. Anna, I'm sorry. You said you were going for 120?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I am like, I'm good with myself.
Yeah,
I don't have anything to prove.
You're not searching?
I just like to spend a lot of times, like, usually what I'll do is like, there are some fields it's like, okay, 2 to 3, and then I'll like fully complete others. Right.
Yeah. The ones that I really enjoy, I'll try and make the most of it. Yeah. But I ended up getting 80 is where I ended up this run. I did, I live stream for folks at the Backstage Pass on Patreon a little bit this afternoon to try and mop up some of those. And it's like, okay, it's getting pretty frustrating after that, but I'm a big baby boy, so I totally understand it. Let's see. Just talking about gameplay a little bit more here. Edern Says, my hot take after finishing the game is Mario's long jump is the best move in the video game history. And 90% of the pleasure I had replaying this game came from that frickin' jump. I now want to long jump in every other video game and in real life as well.
It's something I miss in Sunshine for sure, which as much as I love Flood, and I think Mario is the most fun to control in Sunshine than any Mario game, I do miss the long jump for sure, especially in the levels where they take Flood away and there's a position where it's like, this is where I should long jump.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Yeah. Oh, there's no long jump in Sunshine?
No, because they've got Flood, but then there are those levels where they take Flood away.
Yeah, that's why it feels terrible.
Hey.
I kind of have the same thing where, like, I feel like some of the level designs like doesn't take into account that the long jump exists. Like I had that on Rainbow Ride. Where,
we dubbed
it
like, in for folks.
Like there were times where I'm just like, well, wait a second, I could just like long jump over there and take like a huge shortcut and it would work. And so like it was very cool to have that moment where it's just like a part of his initial move set or his move set that he has, like he can kind of break the levels if you can do it just perfectly.
And you got to wonder, I mean, since they probably nailed the movement first, I was going to say like maybe they designed the levels, then added that move after, but everything we do know about this game and Miyamoto being such a stickler is for basic movement, I'm sure that was like running around in the white box first before they map the stuff out. So it seems like intentional that you can bust these things wide open.
Well, that's so satisfying where it's like in Tall Mountain, there's a part where, there's that log that's rotating around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I was running across it and I saw that it's the Blast to the Lonely Mushroom Star where I guess you're supposed to use a cannon to get there.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize that. And I was running across the log and I just saw the star. And in mid-run, I was just like, screw it. And I did the long jump and I landed on it. And my chat on Twitch like freaked out. They're like, what the hell? I didn't know that was possible. And I was like, I didn't know there was another way to do it. I just saw the star and jumped to it, and it worked. And it felt awesome.
Yeah, that's the way I was doing it too.
Because those are like the game really shines in those moments, like when you're going for another star, and then you're like, oh, like I think I can get this one, and then you do. I feel like I had the most of those moments in this section of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like a few of them, so more than the last section at least.
Right. Tanner Metvin writes in, just talking about. Before we get to any levels specifically, he says, more than any other, this section of the game makes me appreciate the castle hub. And I'm still floored they're able to make it work so well on the first major 3D space really ever made. It's not perfect, but the idea of it changing how a level works by the way you enter it is a masterstroke in my opinion. We'll get more into that in a little bit here. But Jake Twitch also brings up, how is no one else on this Patreon talking about the endless staircase? I remember being a kid and that tiny little mechanic absolutely blew my mind. Little touches of Bowser's trickery inside the castle are a highlight of the overworld for me. From the transforming painting to the endless staircase, those little mess with you moments always just hit me in the right way back in the day.
Endless staircase?
If you don't have enough stars and you go to the staircase up to Bowser, like it never ends, and it plays this little like and it loops.
Oh, wow, so do you just have to turn around at some point and go back down?
Shut up, Dan. You are the Guinness World Record holder for playing the most Mario games. You don't know what the endless staircase?
I think
we need to cut this right now.
I'm sure back in
very
the day,
shallow
I must have seen that, but I think this time I wanted to make sure I had like a lot of stars before I went up there.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense. Yeah.
I didn't see it this time.
But if you're a kid and you're stuck on every level and you go and you're like, maybe if I hold forward long enough.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
They should have put like some secret in there after a long time. Nowadays they'd have an achievement if you ran on it for 30 minutes or something.
Oh yeah.
That'd be cute.
Yeah. But that music makes me laugh. It's so weird to like, okay, construct a song that's loopable but sounds like it's infinite. That like I don't even know how they technically did it, but it somehow works so well. Talking about the castle and the upstairs area, it's funny that like they start reusing paintings from downstairs. Like when I first got up here, it's been so long since I've played this. I was like, can I get into all those levels again? Okay, not quite. And then even just weird stuff like on the either side of Wet Dry World, how there's like the kind of cloud paintings. And I was like, I don't remember what this is. And there's like smaller little squares on either side, but you can't quite jump through those things. There's like, it gets a little bit mushy, but I wish every painting you could jump into. And it's weird that it's a little inconsistent in this area now.
Well, yeah. And then Tall Mountain being like the tiny one, like the one tiny one. You know?
Right. Yeah. It's really odd. And also, this is a very weird technical thing, but just like the way they actually number the levels, it doesn't really line up with, I think, the natural way you'd encounter these levels. Like the first one is Snowman's Land, but like right when you open the doors, it's like Wet Dry World right there. And so just the order is all weird technically if you want to count the number of courses in the game itself.
Or is it Tall Mountain? I thought it was.
I never realized until you just said it out loud that Snowman's Land is a pun.
It's a very good name for a level.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Snowman's Land.
Oh!
Yeah. It's like on the DS.
Or something?
Yeah, and actually it's great for like DLC if they want to make Snowman Sky. I feel like that's a cool angle for Hello Games to really lean into it. I'm sorry, Ronnie, maybe your headphones aren't working. I said Hello Games. Okay.
Yeah.
You're such a dick. All right. So, hey, anyways, Ronnie, get a load of this. Rory Sublet wrote in as well, saying, anybody else still get their mind blown when they go into the mirror hall? I remember being amazed when I was little, and I still am today. Seeing Lakitu behind you is a great touch, too. Overall, my favorite thing about this game is how quickly rewarding it can be. I only got 15 minutes to play. That's okay. It's okay. You're going to get a few stars and have a great time doing it. And then Brian W. writes in and says, how about that mirror room? It's so awesome. Now that I know more about games, I understand reflections weren't actually a thing back then. The mirror room is actually a separate room built out with a second Mario and Lakitu you are also controlling. To confirm this, you can get Mirror Mario to pop out of existence like many other game objects by getting him to the edge of the camera's vision. In addition, you can see him turn into the low-res Mario when running just the right distance. I wanted to try and use the randomness of physics to get the two Marios out of sync, but couldn't do it. That's probably why the room has those weird square pillars.
Wow.
Weird
that's
techie
really
thing.
That's great.
Yeah, I do love that room. And it just makes you question, like, wait, I forgot that Lakitu is behind me at all times lore-wise, but obviously they're not actually rendering behind you.
Everything you're saying about him.
I'm constantly talking about him. Trying to rally his brothers against him. Last thing about the castle, Wriggles writes in and says, when you talk to Toads, there's a little melody that plays, and it's the same one used in Luigi's Mansion when talking to Toads. I thought it was a nice reference that I would not have noticed unless playing through Super Mario 64. Thanks, team. Roche, he says. That seems, I don't know why he added that bit.
Roche.
Yes, okay. First level, should we get to it? Snowman's Land.
God, that seems weird that's the first level.
I know. According to the official ordering, it is. Dan,
in my notes, it's below wet dry.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, you seem the most frustrated about Snowman's Land.
I think it was just a patience thing, maybe, because when you posted that GIF of trying to walk behind the penguin on the top, I was thinking like, oh, maybe it's not just me. Maybe everyone had trouble with that, because like he jukes you out. He'll do the thing where he like goes forward a little bit. And he's like, nope, just kidding, going back here.
Yeah.
But did you guys climb onto his head?
What?
Wait,
okay,
what?
I didn't know about that until the chat told me, because I got blown off like 90 times and lost my hat every damn time. And then eventually somebody was just like, hey, just get on his head. I was like, what are you talking about? And I climbed up, and sure enough, you grab it like a ledge and you can pull up and just stand on his head until you get across.
But it's still frustrating because you have to wait for him to do his stupid, weird walking pattern. But to be fair, I might have Googled a little walkthrough on that one, because I was like, that stupid blowing mountain or blowing snowman phase, I just couldn't tell when it was hitting me, when I was behind it. It's just like the logic of that thing was all over the place. I'm like, you know what? I need to figure out if there's a better way to get across this stupid thing.
Yep. That was a pain in the ass.
Absolutely. But I like the snowman's head screaming at you, being like, who's climbing on me? An ice ant, a snow flea. Yeah. He's fun.
It's so good. I got really lucky with Snowman's Land. Like, I've got like 2 stars with the cannon, just like really, just like I overshot it a ton and got shot straight into the star.
What?
And I was like,
are you kidding me?
This is like the payoff, the one that you need to climb on the penguin board. So I was like, this is like good karma after all that I went through on the sand level. I got 2 stars that way, just like being like shot to the spot that I needed to be.
That's
because I was just like, okay, like I see it on the map and I'm like, okay, let's just like try this.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw cannon on that level.
Oh yeah.
It's right, it's behind you.
I don't think I ever used it once. Wow.
It's not necessary for anything, but I think the idea behind it is that once you open up the cannon, there's also a tree on the top of the snowman's head that you could aim for, and bypass that whole,
and that's what I was aiming for. And I was aiming for it I was like, okay, this is going to go low, so I need to overcorrect. So I way overcorrected, got shot into the star.
Wow.
Amazing.
I like the star in the little ice maze that's pretty close to where you start. It feels like a Captain Toad level or something, like trying to like navigate that weird space. Such a funky little thing.
Yeah, the perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, the in the igloo.
No, actually, like on the outside, the igloo kind of has some of those similar areas,
deep
but
freeze or something like that.
Right. I was confused. Like, there's that one area. I think there's 2 red coins underneath it, where there's the platform up top with the bully, and then there's like the icy water below, and you hit it, and it treats it like it's lava. It's like, what is this?
Like burns your ass. And it's not that visually distinctive. I'm sure there's some indicator, but like every time I hit water in that, I was like, oh crap, is this going to burn me?
Yeah, it's really weird. It
is very weird that this is the only place in the game where water doesn't rejuvenate your health.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I didn't look, and I remember thinking, like, I should look for a sign to see, like, do they give you any warning that happens?
I don't think so. I think I talked to a lot of toads here, but I still missed a couple things or was confused about a couple things. Christopher Reardon submitted a comment on Patreon. He says, when you jump on the spindrift enemies, the flower-like ones in the snow levels, Mario says boing and does a nice spin jump. 10 out of 10 game right there, he says.
Right.
Feels good.
There's no doubt about it. Sean Mills submits a comment saying, I always get scared by the fake coin enemies in Snowman's Land. I thought it was a fun, innocent Mario game, not Dark Souls. Gulp. They still got me after a while.
Every single time. I probably happened 5 or 6 times in a row where I would die, and I'd be like, or I'd get blown off the thing and take some fall damage and be like, I need to replenish my health. There's a coin. Oh, right. Mimic.
Yeah, still fun to chase around, but yeah, I get it. Connor says, I joined the deepest dive just in time for this last episode, and I only wanted to submit this one comment. The penguin at the top of Snowman's Land is impossible to stay behind. Climb on his head, Connor. That's the secret. Best of luck next time, buddy. Rob Bob Will submits a comment saying, I simply can't let this dive end without dragging Snowman's Land through the snow a bit. I don't think I ever got the first star without using the cannon to avoid that stupid breath. From the duplicated bully fight to the non-respawning whirly creatures required to reach the shell, to the red coin crammed between the bully and lava water, to even the laziest reuse of a level theme, this world truly has the worst to offer. All right, easy, Rob. Easy. I think people were reaching their breaking point. A lot of these comments were like, if I die one more effing time, we're going to lose it. Ronnie, were you pulling your hair out trying to get 120 stars? Was it brutal?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, like, it wasn't, it actually wasn't, like, as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, I feel like I had it in my mind that was just like, like, TikTok Tower, is that what it's called?
TikTok Clock.
TikTok Clock. Like, I just remember, like, not liking anything in that, in TikTok Clock, and then this time I'm just like, it's a fine place, world.
Well, hang on, did everyone, like, Ronnie, you must have done the stop the clock thing, right?
Well, yeah, but the thing is like, I couldn't remember, like, when that was useful, except for the red coins. But other than that, like, I feel like I remember, like, it gets slower and faster. Like, if the long hand is like on, like, the 1 or the 2, it's, like, slowest. But if it's, like, more on, like, the 10 or 11, it's fastest. And then it stopped at 12.
For every one of them, I did 12, except for there's, like, the one where there's the hand of the clock you have to stand on to get the star. That's one where I would have it go just a little bit, not super fast. But I think just about everything else, I had to stop. There's a really hard one, like when you get to the top, if you don't have things moving, you have to do kind of a crazy, like, backflip into a wall jump to get up top, but it's possible. So, and it makes everything else. Go ahead.
Is that the Womp one where he's just, like, at the very, very, very top?
Yeah, and so I had to do some fancy-ass jump to get up there, but I would rather not deal with all the moving components getting up there, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, that was some of the, like, best moments of the game for me, is, like, I did not remember that at all. Like, I don't remember Womp being up there ever. So, like, that, it felt like I was seeing that for the first time. That was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say something to everyone, to you all, a confession.
Please.
I totally forgot that you could stop TikTok Clock.
Oh, no.
That's totally fine. Like, the toad next to TikTok Clock tells you, but even the way he tells you is confusing because he phrases it like the
like he didn't even know. He's like, something crazy happens.
No, he says something like the big hand or something where I didn't know if he meant the hour hand or the minute hand. Yeah. Like, he confused
the big one. Just the big one.
Yeah, but he might have said, I don't know.
Yeah, toads can't tell time.
But in a way, is it like the hour hand?
They're
like
illiterate.
The hand?
They can't read clocks.
They have no idea.
Wait, Hanson, are you arguing that the smaller hand is the big hand?
I mean, it's the big dog in the clock. Ruff, ruff. Right? I mean, it's the more important one.
That's true. Ruff, ruff.
Hanson logic, my God. By the way, I found out tonight that Ben Hanson, the most traveled man I know, doesn't know how time zones work.
I'm bad at math. I'm bad
I
at
asked him, first of all, he told me the wrong time the first time I did it. So I was in here ready to go, and then he was like, yeah, in an hour. And I was like, oh, great. And so I asked him today, I was like, hey, 7 Eastern, right? And he's like, if that's 6 Central, then yes, it's Ben. You know this.
If I'm really in the zone, I can do it, but I don't have that math to my tongue.
In the zone.
Central time zone, that is. Come on down. The most relevant time zone, I say. We have Chicago. So Spencer Rotine writes in and says, now I know what the entrance to hell looks like. It's Tock Clock.
Oh, I will not stand for this Tock Clock hate.
I mean, it's a funky theme, but I think we can all agree clocks are cooler to look at than jump around inside of, right?
Okay, here's my thing with Tock Clock is that I kind of liked it because I was coming from I was struggling with some levels in Tiny Huge World.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
And like some levels where I'm like, there was a level I had to look up a guide, and I was like, how the heck was I supposed to know that's how I got that?
Yes.
Like there's no hint whatsoever. The secrets one. And then I get to Tock Clock. I'm like, wow, this is like hard, but I know exactly like more or less like what I need to do, where I need to go. It's like straightforward. And so like earlier I was talking about like more open world exploration versus linear. I was like, well, I don't mind like anymore like the hard jumping, I guess. And the annoyance. I'd rather deal with the annoyances of the clock than of the not knowing what the heck I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes, you can see in front of you. Yeah, Tyler Lingbeek is with you. He writes in saying, hey, cohorts, maybe unpopular, but I love the last 2 worlds of the game. I've always been more of a fan of the linear style 3D Mario games, so the more difficult single path obstacle levels are really speaking to me much more than the openness of the earlier levels. The repeat climbs to the top of each level can get repetitive, but I really feel like the challenging platforming is really engaging and for the most part fair. Not as many cheap, challenging, janky platforming things as the other levels.
I'm guessing he loves Galaxy.
Again,
yeah. Tyler, is that his name? Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler.
I mean, that's what Galaxy is. Galaxy is very like linear, like, hey, this is this star, follow this path, go there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it a little bit later, but it is crazy that going through Rainbow Ride, it's like, this is just a 3D land game. Like, a level. Like, 3D land, 3D world, it feels so much in that vein, and I kind of like it for that reason. But, Tock Clock.
I do too.
Yeah, this SOB. So, Musky Goron is talking about just how brilliant it is and what a good design choice it is for that idea of jumping in at different times with the hands and how incredibly smart that is. So yeah, it's like right when it's on the 12, that's when it's stopped. And then 12 to 3 is slow. And then 9 to 12 is fast. Is that the logic?
I just know the 12 to stop.
12 to stop. Okay.
Yeah, and when I wanted it to go slow, I tried to land it between like the 1 and the noon and 2. But then like and fast seemed like it was 10 and 12. And I'm sure that obviously the other ones do something as well. I just don't know what.
Yeah. Do you know what Einstein said, Ronnie, when somebody asked him what time was?
I don't know, something hipsterish.
Yeah. This cool guy. Yeah. He like popped his collar. Is that what hipsters
do? Like,
do?
what is time?
No, get a load of this. He goes, oh, it's what clocks measure. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, it's right there. That's all it is. Think about that one, man. Anyways, Ryan writes in, says jumping into the top of the clock when the time strikes midnight, or is it noon, and seeing all the gears stop was really cool. Probably my favorite thing in the game. Are there any other changes when jumping in at specific times? Does Mario watch Conan when he jumps at 11 p.m. Central Time? Come on, Ryan.
11:30, 11:35.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Dan, when was the last time you watched an entire episode of Conan?
I constantly feel guilty because he was such a part of me growing up every night, and now he's still on the air and I'm not watching. I listen to the podcast, so I'm still supporting that.
It's like we spend more time with him now because of the podcast, but still feel so disconnected from whatever's happening on TV. There's probably some jokes in there somewhere. I don't know.
I did just watch Letterman talk to Chappelle on his new Netflix show.
Oh, how's that?
It was interesting, really interesting.
Okay. Any takeaways?
Yeah. I think it's embargoed. I don't think I can say.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I don't think it goes up to like the 21st or something.
What's your secret? We got inside line for Netflix?
We do a streaming podcast, and so we got the screeners and all that.
Jesus, can you believe this guy, Ronnie?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Zach E writes in and says, not knowing the clock mechanics for Tock Clock, the 8 red coin star was one of the more tedious and infuriating stars for me.
Yeah.
I thought the strategy was to drop from the second level enough times until you collect all coins in the star, which took me about 30 attempts. So much repetitive climbing. Afterward, I realized you could stop the spinning platforms by entering the world at the right time, and oh boy, I feel real dumb. Yeah, that one is very easy. It wasn't until I was streaming it today that I went in there with time fully stopped and was like, oh, this is a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you fall, there's a safety net, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And there's even a heart down there, I think.
Yep.
I think even if you take fall damage. No, I mean, you don't fall to your death.
Oh, right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like going back to just like if you missed that one, what that toad said, like would not have any real reason to like make an association between like how fast the clock is moving and the time when you enter it. Like it was a very kind of like arbitrary, obscure thing to think about. But like, I totally understand like how they didn't like catch that.
How many kids do you think back in the day, before that didn't have the internet, jumped in, like had trouble with that world, and then one time they're like, I swear the stuff wasn't moving, and it was so much easier, but they couldn't put together why, you know?
Yeah.
Oh crap.
I bet it is literally hundreds of cases where people are like, this is impossible! And then they hand the controller to their brother or sister or something, and they're like, what are you talking about? It's a piece of cake. And it's like, what? No. Like, I bet that happened all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. But yeah, I guess pack some secrets in here. It's fun to have those weird random elements for this early game here. Matthew Woksha submits a comment saying, now that we finished the game, I got 120 stars without one game over. No big deal, he says. Yes, Matthew, we're all impressed.
That is a big deal.
It is good. No, no, Anna. He says it's not a big deal.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you're chill. You're a chill guy. I get it.
What were your favorite and least favorite stars to collect, not including the 100 coin stars since they all suck? His favorite star was Boyle the Bully. Interesting. And my least favorite star was Stomp the Thwomp. Screw everything about Tock Clock, he says.
I aggressively dislike the rainbow, the one where you just gotta ride it across the whole level. And I got lucky. I think I got it on like my second try or something like that. But even just the feeling of like, okay, I hate it when I don't have control. Because, you know, when I'm playing a Mario game, you have such specific control over Mario all the time. And so auto-scrolling levels, I always hated because I didn't have control over the speed. And this one specifically, where any wrong movement or jump just means you die and start over. And it's going to be a minimum, like several minutes of anxiety of just like, I'm going to fall off this carpet. I just did not enjoy a second of that.
Looks cool, though. You got to admit that level looks cool.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Gosh, my least favorite, I have to go for it was Wiggler's red coins.
Oh, really?
That to me felt like what the developers said, like, how broken can we make this camera? and this is what they came up with. I for whatever reason, just like the camera just could not do what I wanted it to do, and that also tied into like the 100 coins of that world as well. And so I like went back to it. I died on that, like just Wiggler's red coins more than any other place in the whole game.
So I didn't even do that one, but just like being in that confined space, the camera just was having a tough time trying to figure out where you were.
Yeah, and each platform was like of a different height, and then also on top of it, it was like this, you know, like caged area where Wiggler was hanging out. And so like once in a while, like the camera would go up to the caged area, which was already kind of obscured. And then once in a while, it'd just be like, we don't really want to be up there. So then it would go back down, like hit a platform. And
Lakitu would take a lunch break.
It's funny that you said that because I've been like every now and then going back into like my DS save file, which is who knows how old. And like, just like for comparison, just like seeing how it feels. But then I went into Tiny Huge. And that was the star that, like, most of them were all complete, right? But that was the only course where I had, like, stopped on, like, a main, you know, star.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Like,
I mean, really, like, Ben, you should, like, just go and just, like, have fun experimenting with what the crazy things that camera does just in that one small confined space.
You know, of all the things in my life, I feel pretty content when it comes to the crazy things the camera does in Super Mario 64 at this point. I'm good. I'm gold. I understand. All right, well, let's talk about Tiny Huge Island, which I guess is the official name of this one. This level strikes me as like probably top 3 moments of like the most fun I've had in the game is the first time you get huge and just kick ass, and then everything else.
And then
about
you punch a Goomba and it goes flying.
Yes, I mean Mike Poe says that the most satisfying moment of this playthrough for me was not smiting Bowser for the last time or soaring with the wing cap, but rather kicking a tiny Goomba on Tiny Huge Island as Big Mario and just launching that little goober clear across the map. It never stopped being satisfying. I'm with you. That's great. The premise is great, and then the rest of the level was so frustrating. Like I just fell off and slid to my death so many times on that janky geometry going up.
Well, there's that weird one where it's like stand on these 5 holes or like the 5 little secrets or whatever, and it was just like so unclear.
Yeah, but it was called stand on these 5.
Yeah, the designer in Japan.
It's 5 itty bitty secrets. I wrote it down because it made me so angry.
And it's like some of them.
The name is teasing you. Sorry,
like some of them are like holes, and some of them are like just a thing that balls come out of, and some of them are just like they're different sizes and like caves and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just so unclear. And then you have to do it when you're big, and then like even that water area, it seems so big when you're small, but when you're big, it feels like you just take one step in the wrong direction and you're just plummeting into the abyss.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that cool-looking fish with the sunglasses can't even save you if he wanted to.
Pretty cool.
Undoubtedly the coolest dude in Super Mario 64.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's living the high life. Yeah, I'm totally with you. I had like a weird... Okay, so just the basics of this level. I love running up to the painting. That's also one of my favorite things in this game. That is more fun than anything within the level almost, is just having the different perspectives and getting closer and just having it be a wacky funhouse. But... what is the point, other than the Piranha Star, what's the point of starting with the left painting where you start big? Am I missing something? Because it seems like just kind of a dead end. But one time I glitched my way up to the top, but it seems like...
Oh, you can get around if you start big. Yeah, you got to jump over to where those piranha plants are.
Yeah.
And then you can just kind of like go, there's like a purple switch and it causes a bunch of like blocks to show up and you can just run across and you can access the whole level from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can definitely shortcut it if you're start big, but it seems like the most straightforward way is to start small and then go from there.
Okay, so you guys always went to the right then.
I feel like I did for the most part, even though it's funner to be big.
It is very fun to be big. There's no doubt, unless once you get to the top and then start falling over and over again.
I think for the Koopa Quick level, you can start off small and get over to the other side, and it's like slightly easier.
Okay. I do love that little bit of lore explanation where Koopa says that this is his home course. So that's why he's so big, is because he's from this crazy level where he's born huge.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
wait.
great.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
That's so good.
I just thought this is stupid. Like this model. Oh my gosh. Great. That's amazing.
I love that. I never heard that before. That's awesome.
Yeah. We'd like to apologize for everything negative we've said about the camera and the game. It turns out Nintendo knows what they're doing.
Pretty smart.
When it comes to Koopa the Quick. Andrew Baker, my one question is simple. Why is Tiny Huge Island the worst level in Mario history? In all seriousness, that level was no fun. Sorry, Andrew. The amount of times I accidentally fell to my death due to the level not being scaled correctly to my huge Mario. So many times a Goomba I could not see would push my Mario to his death. Anyone else have the same frustrations with this level? Yes.
Yeah. It's annoying. And worst Mario level ever is a stretch.
Probably.
It was, I think, one of the most frustrating starts that I got was the 100 coins and wigglers. I didn't, I remember really liking this level when I was a kid, and going back to it, I'm like, this is a freaking nightmare.
Right?
All this sucks. Yeah.
Well, and when I was a kid, it was actually a really fun realization. Like, it took me a while I didn't realize that they were the same level.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I thought that I had to get one, which is like, okay, I'm just outing myself for how dumb I am. But like,
well, you were like 1 at the time, so it's fine.
Yeah, I was like an infant.
Yeah, you're a little wiggler yourself.
I was like, goo goo gaga, what's going on?
Like, I get it.
Anyway, but that was really cool to me that you could have these 2 doors, so to speak, that lead to the same world.
Yeah,
and 2 versions of the World.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome because, I was such a big Mario 3 fan growing up, and World, I think 4 was the Tiny Huge in that. And
yeah, that was so much fun.
Yeah, and just the novelty of that Goomba's huge. And then you see it in a 3D space, and it's almost even more oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something... Oh, go ahead.
Why is that so fun? To see big Goomba.
It's the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing where it's just I'm used to those being small, but now that fly is huge.
Yeah.
We got a film on our hands. Undoubtedly. Yeah, I guess you're right. And yeah, it's weird too. There's some fun thing about just seeing something but come back in a new way. Even for the previous chunks of this deepest dive, I was going to bring up that Goombas, they kind of didn't get their due in Super Mario 64. They're such a minor aspect of this entire game. And then I feel Tiny Huge Island is where finally it's look at this crazy Goomba, consume the Goomba, live the Goomba life. It's they really get their great comedance here.
Goombas get more screen time than Koopas. And Koopa Troopas were such a huge part of Mario's DNA. And they predate the Goombas. And you don't see a lot of them here.
Yeah, historically, that's what the record shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dan, we had a very smart comment from Chris Logan that probably should have been in the first discussion, but Chris is wise to patch this hole for us. Just zooming out a bit, saying, these days we separate the main Mario games into 2D and 3D experiences. But it's important to remember when this game was developed and released, it was simply the next Mario game that just happened to be in 3D. Yeah. With this in mind, the game evolved from the original to 64. The way the game evolved from the original to 64 is fascinating. The games had progressively increased the number of levels from one entry to the next, but this simply wouldn't be possible with the limitations of the 64. It's very likely that the 6 stars per level idea was conceived as a solution to this. On paper, the idea of going from Super Mario World to a game with only 15 levels sounds like a massive downgrade, but nobody felt shortchanged because they squeezed so much out of every level and developed a system that has stuck around ever since. I think it's a very smart comment from Chris.
Yeah, that's a really great comment.
That's an awesome comment. I love that.
Because it's just
never thought about that.
Everybody, it's so easy to be of course, 3D Mario games, 2D Mario games, but back in the day, it was directly comparing Mario World to 64 structurally, and that's something that not many people do anymore when you should.
They also, they kind of planted the seeds in Mario World of if you're going to get 100% completion, you have to play certain levels more than once. Because, to get the 96 in Mario World, that's 96 exits. That's not 96 levels. So it's you need to go to Donut Plains and you get one of those 96 by doing it the normal way. And that opens up this way. But then you do the secret thing, which is a different objective within the level. That opens up the shortcut through the water. So they were kind of experimenting with multiple exits, but it definitely wasn't as blown out as it is in 64.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And on the getting huge thing, it's weird that it wasn't really a thing.
Hang on a second. I love I love that point. So wait a second. They easily could have just said we're gonna do just 50 trials, kind of what levels are, and it one level would just be you press A and then you're on the slide. You're on the Snowman slide.
Yeah.
And they that seems to be the natural progression of what they probably could or should have done, but then they decided no, let's just make this an actual world.
Well, I think it's probably, oh my God, it takes so much work and art assets just to build out one world. How do we keep ringing this thing in a fun way? Let's have different objectives in this play space.
But even getting to that thought of just even making a world, they could have just, what I'm saying is they could have just made a slide.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you just go into it from which weirdly enough, they kind of did that when they went to 3D World, where it is just hey, here's the level, do the level, get to the end, you know?
Oh yeah, right? I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
Good point.
Okay, Tiny Huge Island. Yeah, I guess it's weird that they don't really do the huge thing again until New Super Mario Brothers on the DS. That was the big thing is look how big you can get, right?
Mega Mario,
yeah, all that fun stuff.
Tiny.
That's right. Tiny Huge Island, though. Did you guys understand the logic of that stupid windy stretch?
No, I hate that, and it never feels good.
No.
Because every single time, it's wait, do I have to time it? Do I have to catch this? Do I need to double jump into this? And every time it worked, but every time I thought it wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's every time, 60% of the time, I'd get stuck on the dirt.
Yes.
In the land.
The underside.
Yeah. And then either that he'd go back up or he'd die. Back down.
So does anybody know, does it take 2 jumps? Can you just jump off if it's windy? I don't think that does work, but you
can. I think you can just jump.
God, yeah. I hate it. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then, it's just like a pillow.
Yeah, I know, but it's a timed pillow as well, right? It's like, it's not constant. It does cut out for a little bit, or am I just getting to the edge and then that's cutting out?
I think it picks up. I think when you jump off, even if the wind is not current, I think it brings it.
You don't need
it comes up.
Okay.
But then again, if you have momentum forward, you always hit the bottom of it. It's awful. It's bad.
It's weird because the wind in this section of the game is very weird, and I'll talk about this at Tall Mountain.
Yeah.
It's almost like should be treated like those little secrets, like in the first course. There's in Bomb on Battlefield, there's the secret where you go into that little section and it teleports you up to the front. It's kind of similar with the wind. It's maybe they actually want us to try jumping off some places and just seeing what happens. It is more of but with that you actually need it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Joe Halaska writes in saying the red coins in Tiny Huge Island and by extension the 100 coin star are awful. Most of them are easy to get to, but it took me so many tries to get that last one up on the high ridge that requires you to time a pretty precise jump and hope the camera doesn't freak out. I don't remember having any trouble whatsoever with the star on 64, but here it drove me insane.
Excuse me. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, this is family-friendly program.
This is Mario 64. Show some respect, Ronnie. Jesus.
This gets me going.
I have a question. Do you think that the camera is worse in this version of the game than in the 64 game? Is that possible?
I think we're noticing how much worse it is now because of time. I think it's identical to how it always used to be. But especially when you put it in this package with Sunshine, which has a really good camera. Well, I'm not going to go that far, but it's a full control camera. It's a stark contrast.
Yeah. Let's see. This Wriggler boss fight. It's Wriggler Wednesday. BB writes in and says, in Tiny Huge Island during the Wriggler boss fight, Wriggler tells Mario, now you're asking for it, Linguini breath. What a prick, he says. Yeah, he was out of line when he said that. We're all thinking it.
Yeah.
I had believe it or not, I had a tough time with that guy too, where I just kept getting damaged after I was hitting him. Is it just, if you just hit him right on the head, then do you not get damaged, but do damage? Because I feel like it was always, I'd be a little bit off of his head. I think I'd be safe, but then I'd still get a little bit of damage. Anybody else have a tricky time nailing that sweet spot?
I don't know if I did this one.
Oh, really?
Wait, I did one of them. I don't think I did the red coin one that Ronnie was talking about, because I did some Wiggler thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, make Wiggler squirm?
Yeah. That was the boss fight.
I didn't do that. So I think I was sitting there. I was like, I don't know. I stopped when I saw the red coins.
Yeah.
Kind of the funny thing about the Wiggler boss fight is that you jump on top of him and then you actually do damage to him, and then you can just keep on bouncing on him and it doesn't really do anything to him, but you can just kind of keep on bouncing, and then once you land off of him, then he'll talk to you and say oh, that hurt, but you don't get hurt.
And also, he doesn't turn red. He doesn't do the Wiggler thing.
Right. Yeah, he never turned red.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. That's the gimmick.
It's a poser. You guys want to go to Wet Dry World?
Sure.
Get in the car. Let's go. Woo!
Brum, brum, brum.
I don't know why, but Wet Dry World is my number one nostalgia level in Super Mario 64. For whatever reason, when I think of Super Mario 64 and playing it as a kid, renting an N64, I think of playing this level. Maybe it's just because it's
weird.
The location is just right at the top of the stairs, so you just jump right into that. I don't know.
I think it's because it's easy to stay alive because you have the water everywhere. There aren't so many. It's like you could. There are some harder levels that would take you a longer period of time, but this level is not going to kill you. And so you just try it over and over and over and over.
That is true. Yeah, it's not going to be infinite death pits everywhere you look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There are annoying spots, though, where it's the arrow blocks, or the arrow lifts or whatever.
Right.
And it's man, there's that shocking thing that goes around. I think that it's called shocking arrow lifts. And it's just it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is absolutely terrifying.
Because if you fall, you don't die, but it's almost a fate worse than death, because then you have to go around swimming around hitting all these damn diamonds to get back up there.
Which, by the way, what are those diamonds? What is that contraption supposed to be? It looks like something that'd be in a gray box test thing to check the lighting in a video game, and now it's like, no, this is a switch. It's like, what is it?
Yeah, it honestly looks like a placeholder.
Yeah.
To me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a bath? That's how that works.
All the other switches are so big. They're ginormous. And these are just like tiny little floating orbs.
So confusing.
It's like something we need to go back to this. Something should be here.
Yeah. Hunter S. Sack says, special shout out for Wet Dry World because it still makes me feel uncomfortable for no reason. All right, I guess that's fair. Joe Mama 2112 says, one question, why are the water strider enemies so sad? I entered the painting at the bottom so the water level is low and saw their sadness and aimed to please them, raising the water level. This did not seem to raise their spirits, and I weep for them. We all weep for the water strider.
I'm sorry, Joe Mama 2112.
He's always loved animals, Joe Mama 2112. Best thing you can say about him. I did not know, even though Toad totally tells me, but I did not take it seriously, apparently. I did not remember that weird thing about jumping in at different levels on the painting here to change the water levels. That is not so fun.
That's great.
I love that, yeah.
God, how would you think of that? How would these developers crunching their asses off have that thought of like, it would be a fun idea? It's like, that seems like that would be an idea they'd come up with for DLC or something, but the idea that like breaking all this technical ground, they'd have the presence of mind to think of something so weird like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's sort of the theme of this section, and why I like it is because like, so it is like the interaction between like the castle and like the hub, and then like your experience of the level.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I like Wet Dry World too, because it's got some weird enemies. Like the first time you see that purple and red tosser ball guy that like grabs you. I like the flipper dustpan guy that has like the Koopa logo with like the thumbs up.
I hate that guy.
He's a prick, but I like his design.
Can I defend him for a second here?
No.
He's the first. Okay, I will. I think the dustpan guy is cool because like I was a kid and like
quit bragging.
It's the first character that doesn't like hurt you. And I was like, oh, he's like a tool if I use him correctly.
Tortures you.
What?
He torches you. He throws you up in the air, and you go all the way up in the air. You fall. You get hurt. Tokens.
Not if you land in the water.
A little bit, and then he
not if you land in the
back,
water.
And he just.
He is from a genre of Mario. He is a genre of Mario enemy that I hate, and he's very much, now that I'm playing through Sunshine too, the Cataquack. They are the duck things in Gelato Beach, and they throw you up. Yes. Yeah, they're in Mario Kart 8, I think, or 7. Mario Kart Wii, where they just fling you up in the air, and you're just an idiot up there. It doesn't hurt you that much. It's just a pain in the ass.
In defense of Dustpan Men, though, I'm with Anna. Like, they hurt me, but I use them to my advantage 60% of the time that I'm interacting with them is to get me up that platform. Like, not many other enemies are you actually using. It's like the spinny guys in the snow level, like getting that spin boost. They're helpful.
It's too hard to wrangle them. It's too hard to get them where you want them.
Yeah, they can't.
Which, by the way, again, Sunshine. Do you remember the Chucksters? The guys that throw you.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to get too into Sunshine here, but man, there's some shit in that game.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is a weird level too, where you get the secret star for like pushing those 5 blocks a little bit.
Yeah.
Another secrets.
Yeah.
Another stand on the hole. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just move these things a little bit. I completely forgot until I was streaming today about like that secret castle room in Wet Dry World where you have to shoot the cannon into that mesh, swim down. Do you remember this, Dan?
I didn't. I haven't got that story yet on this.
Okay.
Round.
Yeah, it's just like
the secret town.
Yes, the secret town area. It's weird.
That's what makes it my favorite level. Is because like when I found that, like I'd spent so much time on that level already, and then like it was like one of those things. It's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you get up there? And then like you figure out, just like, the cannon needs to be open. The water level needs to be as high as it can be. Yeah. And you have to aim the cannon just perfectly. And if you aim the cannon just perfectly, like you can get in there. And then there's this whole other area that's not just like this like really little thing. Like it's a big area. It with feels like a metal cap and
it feels like a weird bit of extra lore if you're into it, where it's like, what? It's like another part of the castle. It's like this is where the toads live, but I don't understand what is happening in this society.
They all drowned and all the bodies are on the top.
Honestly, it was messed up. I looked through one of the windows in one of those little houses in the secret town.
Yeah.
just corpses, just cordwood. It was
blood
dark.
Everywhere.
I don't know why.
It's like the Gray Fox hallway.
Get out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uncle Drundle, he's back, everybody. Unky writes in and says, I have a simple question. Have you guys noticed the backgrounds of any of the levels? Beyond the playing area, most of the levels are just empty sky, but for a few, it's more than that. For Wet Dry World, for example, the background makes it look like you're in some sort of mountainside town with other buildings or houses in the distance. What do you think about these settings on levels?
I think it's really cool. None of it holds a candle to Sunshine. Seeing all the other actual hubs.
All right, everybody. Dan's playing Sunshine. Have you guys noticed this? Yes. He's got the big sign behind him.
That was like something that I paid a lot of attention to. I mean, like this was, during a time where like part of me thought like, can you get there? Like, are the backgrounds backgrounds, or are they actually something that if you persevere, if you find the right place, like you can get to a secret spot. And so that always like, to me, like read more imagination and just like, oh, how do I get there?
Yeah. That's one of my most distinct memories of like weird 64 moments like that is GoldenEye and the dam. There's that one little thing across the way, but if you get a Game Shark, you can actually go over there. And it's not like built out. There's not actually stuff over there, but even just being there, you have that feeling of like, I'm not supposed to be here. And I'm walking around this like weird ghost area, it's awesome.
Perfect example. Yeah, exactly. Perfect example of something that was like put in the background, which would then like, I could see myself like having that moment in 007, then like doubling back on Mario and be like, I can get there.
Yeah, it's possible. I've seen it.
Open the door in that weird shanty town in the background. Yeah. But I guess that weird background does tie into then that secret town idea that there must have been some design, as Wet Dry World was a fully functioning society. It was like the Pompeii of its day before it was flooded and infested by these stupid bugs, right?
Yeah. No.
Don't you think so, Ronnie? I'm working on a short film. I hope you'll read my script.
I was constantly thinking Pompeii. Like that's.
But I noticed the background is definitely like the Bowser level at the end, where it is just like this red, purple, orange, crazy, abstract painting happening. It's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're getting to my favorite level of this entire section. Does anybody have a complaint about Tall Mountain? What a good classic, just American ass level here.
I made a note in my phone being like, I got to bring up how much I like Tall Mountain here, because I feel the exact same way. It's just a straightforward, awesome Mario level. And then at the beginning, when you were reading comments, somebody said something about how much they hate it. And I was like, what? What is there to hate about Tall Mountain? It's excellent.
Yeah, most common comment, Tall Mountain can lick my butt. It seems wildly out of line.
Bob Buell, what is wrong with you?
First one, I don't...
Yeah, it's weird that Zelda has Tall Heights and Mario has Tall Mountain. Tall Sloughton.
Now do it in the kid voice.
No, and slower. Oh boy. Yeah, I love Tall Mountain. You got a silly monkey in there at the top. He's excited. He's doing a handstand. It's just lovely, and it's just like when coming off a stretch of just a lot of BS moments, even Snowman's Land, if you do that before that, then this is just like, hey, just get to the top, everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice sort of like tie back to the first level.
Yes.
Too. It's like a better Bomb on Battlefield, or like a bigger and it
feels like a sequel to it in a way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jacob Mitzel writes in and says, I was really impressed by the design of Tall Mountain. That first mission makes you climb all the way up the mountain, and on the way you pass by every other important location for a star. First, the star on the far out mushroom, then the red coins on the mushrooms, then the monkey, and the star behind the waterfall near the top. The smartest detail is forcing you to get close to the cliffside so the cloud doesn't push you off, which allows you to see the painting-like shimmer on the cliffside. When it came time for future missions, I knew exactly what the titles were referring to and where I should go.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a very smart design.
Which I feel like is like a really common theme in a lot of the levels. Like you have that same idea in Bob on Battlefield as well, and you have the same thing with Big Small World, like where
it's Super Giant Games is the name of that level.
Super Giant, and so you get to the very top. Like one of the first stars is getting to the very top, where you kind of take like a tour around, just like the geometry of the map. Like I love that idea, and that's like such a smart idea that they employed in many different levels.
Yeah, the only bone I'd have to pick about Tall Mountain is, Did you all know about that just random wall that you jump into and it's a portal? I guess I didn't see that shimmer like they were talking about there in that comment.
That was that slide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just happened upon it by accident, and it was just like a happy accident where it's like, oh, okay, I guess there's a slide here. I was happy to find it.
Yeah, I had to look that one up, but it's just like there's coins outside it, but it's not like pointing to it or really getting you that close to it anyway. It's just like, oh, there's a line of coins. When it stops, then you hang a left, and then there's that mysterious mountain slide and all that fun stuff. Ronnie, you look confused.
No, I don't look confused. That was like one of the kind of one of the coolest moments that I had was I like looked down at that one place and I saw that square, and I had this moment of like, that reminds me of something, but I didn't remember exactly what. And so I went down there, and it was this thing where like, you know, I hit it and it did that little like woo, 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 woo,
yeah,
you know, like woo, woo, and you jump in and I like, even as I was jumping in it, I didn't remember what it was. And then the slide happened. I was just like, oh yeah. Like it all came back to me. It was a very cool moment.
I love that slide too. It has some of my favorite art in Super Mario 64, where it's like the best art representing just the era of game development and just coming off the Super Nintendo, where there's just like weird stars and shapes and suns in the background of the slide where it's all dark. And then just kind of looks like Yoshi's Island crayon drawings. It's just like this crude Super Nintendo art that kind of gets grandfathered in and they put it in here and it just doesn't work. And it's fun how jarring it is.
I think one of my favorite examples of that is Rainbow Road in Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's all just like crazy constellations and stuff back there, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. It could be like a wallpaper. Like a really bad wallpaper.
Yeah, it's like a Winamp visualizer.
Those monkeys are fun. And it's so weird that like the monkey up top, you have to grab him to get the star, and then he's immediately apologizing. Like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Give you the star. It's like, apologizing for what? Like this crazy plumber just invaded your world, grabbed you, and then you're sorry? Like, what's happening, monkey? I'm so sorry for you.
It's some self-confidence, monkey.
Just chuck at the life out of this monkey on top of a mountain. Give me the star. Give me the star. You saw what it did to the Wiggler? Speaking of weird enemies in this level, what's up with that cloud that's like blowing a little bit of wind? It's like the
Don't like it.
He doesn't. Did he affect anybody? Like it was just such a jump that you just walked by.
They triple down on that in Sunshine, and it's way worse.
Okay, we're not talking about Sunshine for the last time, Dan.
Did you know I'm playing Sunshine and Galaxy? You want to talk about that?
Coming in with the Sunshine report, Dan the Weatherman. Zach Galoo writes in saying, has running on a rolling log in a video game ever been fun? I've lost count of the amount of times I've fallen into the infinite void on Tall Mountain because the nearby Shy Guys set me on fire or I ended up hitting some inexplicable invisible wall. Even when I pull it off, I don't feel any sense of satisfaction. I guess I'm glad it's over. I don't mind it. I kind of like the kind of hug the edge of a log to make it roll that direction. I think it's a fun video game thing.
I like it when there is a defined end to it, like in Lethal Lava Land or in Tall Mountain, where it's like, I just got to get to the other side. I don't like it in like Fall Guys, you know, that level where it's just like constantly rotating. And it's just like, you don't know how long people are going to stay on. It's like, this could be indefinite. This could be the rest of my life.
Thomas says, Tall Mountain is the worst for 100 coins, which is a big recurring theme. 14 other levels and I'm fine. Tall Mountain requires such precision and thoroughness, it's kind of unbelievable. Ronnie, can you attest to this?
Well, so I think everybody kind of has that level where like, just for whatever reason, it breaks your brain. And for me, like, again, that was Tiny Huge Island, where I think other people would be like, actually, it's really easy because you can just like butt bomb the Goombas and they give you five coins apiece. Like, that's a really easy thing. I could see why Tall Mountain would be difficult, because a lot of times, like, I think what happens is like you find every coin in the level and you're like, well, what's next? And then you, like, if you're lucky, you find that slide, and then you'll get the star on the slide, which can be tricky to do because then you have to like immediately jump, or either that, like, try to climb the slide, which is really difficult. So I get it.
Oof. Wait, so if you get the coin on the slide, it'll just drop right there and then you have to run up the slide?
That's the same thing where it does every time, like in every level, where it like pops up right above his head. And if you don't like immediately press A, like upon getting control back, like he'll continue sliding. And that star will not follow you.
Yeesh. Yeah. Woof. How much time did you spend with this game, Ronnie?
I don't know. That's a good question. I've only I should have just stuck with Super Mario 64, but I would imagine it took me, I don't know, 16 to 20 hours.
Okay.
I remember when I did the Guinness attempt, it was 24 hours of that was just getting the 120 stars.
Was it? Yeah, so it's probably closer to 20, I suppose.
Jesus. Mitchell R. writes in, says, not being able to backflip into Tall Mountain after successfully completing a star is complete malarkey. This alone makes it the worst level of this third of the game. No debate necessary. All right, Mitchell.
Funny how small the painting is.
Yeah.
Like,
it is kind of a novel idea. Like, I like what they were going for there.
But then it was fun because you don't know, like, there are all the other ones, so it's kind of like a little surprise. Like, actually, you can't go in this one.
You know what's worse, though, is there's the wing cap thing with the red coins, and if you fall there, which it's an annoying level, it just throws you into the, like, little pond outside of the castle. It's like, what the hell?
Wait, outside of TikTok.
No, no. There's the thing where outside TikTok Clock. That's how you get into it. You go up.
Yeah. TikTok Clock to the left. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to fly around. There's the cannons. There's the red coins, and then it's kind of a tricky one, and you die, and it's just like, okay, you're as far as you possibly can be from that again.
Yeah. Bob Beal wrote in with the exact same thing, just complaining about how insane that is, that you have to make that run over and over and over again if you want to get good at the level. I did not get a single star in that one. I did it a couple times. I'm like, you know what? That first wing cap course was such a pain in the ass. I'm not going near this sucker.
Well, it's just one. It's just one star, actually. It's kind of like the same thing as just like the red cap.
Gotcha.
Slide. Yeah.
Okay, Rainbow Ride. This fun one. Hendrik Jacobson gets the ball rolling.
Hang on. Oh, we talked about TikTok Clock, didn't we?
We did.
Okay.
Extensively.
All right.
Hendrik Jacobson writes in, with your permission, Ronnie, and he says, Rainbow Ride is unplayable. Even as a kid, I always skip that level. It's so boring. One mistake and you have to take that entire friggin' carpet ride over and over again. It's the worst. Other than that, this was still a fun game and a really great deepest dive. Thank you, Henrik. Ronnie, what did you think of Rainbow Ride?
Loved
it.
I really did. I really loved Rainbow Ride, and I don't think it's boring. Like, that's probably the wrong word. Like, it's sometimes it feels a bit unfair and kind of silly, but like, I don't think it's boring.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool final level for Super Mario 64. I think just the design of it's great. The music, of course, is awesome. I always associate with the Smash Brothers, and they had like a Smashing Live, like a Smash Brothers live album where they have this song from Rainbow Ride, Rainbow Cruise, and then like halfway through it, the crowd just starts clapping along with it. It's so fun and joyous. But I like this level too. Like, I understand it's a pain in the ass to take that carpet ride, but I think it's worth it just for something so weird at the end here.
I think this level is hard for me because, like, and even I felt this a little bit with Tall Mountain. It feels different to be high up in the air. Like, it feels like higher risk, you know? And it makes me more like kind of stressed as I'm playing.
Just because you're constantly hovering over infinite pits.
Thing.
I was just thinking about this, that we were talking about the Wet Dry world and like how much I like that world. And I like, as we were talking about this, and you were talking about like the difference between like, or the similarities between Bomb and Wet Dry world is that like you feel kind of like safe in those worlds. And what I thought is like, well, also in those two worlds, like there's no way that you can fall off the stage. Yeah. And like how much that creates stress, particularly in like tiny, huge island where like it already feels like the physics, like you're not really that in control of what happens because of just like wonky stuff that happens or it's the wind or whatever. Yeah. Like that all really sucks. So, and Rainbow Ride is just like the epitome of that. Of just like, no matter what, you're dead.
Well, and it is like, I do, when I go into Rainbow Ride, I'm like, okay, I'm focused. So I didn't die as much, actually, you know, because I'm like paying a little more attention, you know, and I didn't get like a stupid death. Like, you know, sometimes I just like die from getting set on fire too many times. You know?
I read that in my grandma's obituary. She got a stupid death. I thought that was a crude description.
It was a stupid death.
Got hit by a PD piranha when too many times.
Didn't tiptoe. She heard the music and everything.
Murdered.
Cruelly murdered in a stupid way. Anyways, no, this level will throw you a bone though. Like it's one of those that I like where they have the self-contained red coins. Like any level with those self-contained red coins, like, hey, just stay in this section, jump around this wonky vertical maze, and you'll get it. That's always really nice.
I love that,
yeah. Especially it feels like safe considering the rest of the level, where every other part of that level is like, I'm one step away from dying. With this one, you being in this fun little like labyrinth, it's like, okay, I'm good in here. I just got to get these. There's no timer. Just take my time, get this.
Yeah.
Right. Aegis of the Grail says, in Rainbow Ride, when riding the carpet up to the cruise ship, the last obstacle placed in your way before you can go over to the ship is another long block similar to the one seen before. However, this one is slanted instead of having a flat surface like the others. Why did this happen? Because Miyamoto hates you, Aegis of the Grail. I'm sorry. I get that. Those obstacles towards the end get a little bit wonky. I was confused about, there's around that area too on Rainbow Ride, there's like the upside down pyramid that has like the blue kind of smoky flames coming out. Did that ever hit anybody? I could have sworn like it was hitting me and it just wasn't doing that much. Is it just really exact when it does something?
Here's the thing. I don't know if this is the case, but I had the same thing where like the blue flames, I wonder if it actually, like if it's just something to like mess with you,
just make you jump off the carpet.
Maybe we've cracked Rainbow Ride. It's all about just like messing with you, and it's not actually that hard. Because now I'm kind of questioning myself, because like even as a kid, I was like, well, I actually didn't die that often on Rainbow Ride.
Everything was just
it wasn't the worst stage for me.
Okay, it's weird that is this the first level where they have evil Lakitus throwing the spiky things on you?
Are those still
they have it in they have them in Tiny Huge Island.
They're not bad Katus?
They might be bad Katus technically.
Lakitu was a bad guy before he was a good guy. He made a babyface turn around 64, but he was a heel before that.
Wouldn't it be cool just to have a moment where your Lakitu talks to those guys and just says like, no, brother.
Like, hey, be cool. We're filming.
He's with me.
Yeah. Just go easy. Yeah, we're trying to get some great footage. Just make him look like a hero. It's on 5 o'clock prime time. Come on.
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh, you know what'd be the best? Oh, here's why they should remake this game. Hang on. Miyamoto, you listening, daddy?
This is my second least favorite Hansen character. I don't even know how to describe it. Not as bad as the baby, but bad.
Well, here it goes.
This is my first time seeing this Hansen character.
It ain't great.
Comes out to play all the time.
Wait, is there a Hansen character that you like?
Like Ben Hansen, just Ben. He's a good dude. I like him.
The point is, how sweet would it be is if at the end of Super Mario 64, they showed you all the footage from Lakitu. And it was just like a highlight reel. It's like, tonight
it's just like going back and forth, like hitting a wall over and over again.
He's just
getting concussed.
He's just actually a camera. It's just like him. Like,
he forgot.
The camera's just in shambles. Like mini DV tapes are falling out.
Ow!
Forgot to take the lens cap off during the final fight. Like, oh god, it's out of focus.
So a second Lakitu shows you footage of Lakitu filming you.
Can you hold up a cloud? I gotta white balance this.
I'm just saying they should do that in the remake when they get to it in 20 years. Bob Buell writes in and says, so I went for 120 stars on this run, and my last 2 stars were both in the last room. Get the 8 red coins on the cloud hopping wing cap course and 100 on Rainbow Ride. These 2 nearly broke me. Rainbow Ride requires you to go out of your way, backtrack, and still keep your floating carpet along for the ride to get 100 coins. I thought it was the most frustrating individual star in the game until I got to the cloud hopping level. And that's when he says that getting kicked out every time you die is just unforgivable.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Unforgivable. That's nice. I like the idea, Ronnie, that you went through this game, got 120 stars, and you're not angry about it, which it seems like a lot of people writing in were cursing our names that we made them play it.
No, I actually I was like racing for the moment where it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, oh my god, I got to do this. But like I did this game in a very weird way where like I played it for like one big day each time that we did this, and I got most of the stars in that one day. And what I really did like about this, and goes back to Dan, like what you said, is like you can jump on this game for like 15 minutes and like grab a couple of stars, and that feels really good. Or you can play it for like a long time and get 40. Like it's not even if you are set back, you're not set back that much.
Right. I'm finding as I go forward, because, you know, I've done every one of these on stream. And so it's like when I started, it was like, okay, I'll do a quick loop. And a loop is 3 on 64, 3 on Sunshine, 3 on Galaxy. And so when I started doing this little project, one loop was like, okay, we're going to be here for an hour, hour and a half, short little stream. And now it's like last night I went on, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do a short loop. And I played for like 4 hours because now that there's only a handful of stars left, and I've probably avoided a lot of the more pain in the ass ones, it's way more of a to-do every single star.
Yeah. What's been your best stream you've ever done, Dan?
The Nightmare Party. It's a 12-hour stream I did in July. It's on my YouTube. I beat numerous games during it, played a good chunk of Metal Gear. It's like a whole game show with a spinny wheel thing. I had to eat a bunch of pickles for the first time. It's a nightmare. It's and all of my sound alerts were like cheap and long and loud, and it's just it's the most distillation of every obnoxious thing I could imagine throwing at a stream.
Have you ever had a moment where you're like 10 minutes into a stream and you just think, I don't want to be streaming right now?
I streamed Squadrons last week, and I just thought it was going to be Rogue Squadron, like a new Rogue Squadron. I love that. Hey, let's get some ships. Let's go out there, shoot some stuff. Boo, have some fun. Because, of course, you would think that. They called it Squadrons. That would be like if they named a new game Mario 64, but they're like, no, this is like a sim Mario. You know? And so I load up Squadrons, and it's like, well, you got to divert power to this and do all that. It's like, I don't want to play Flight Simulator. I want to go shoot some Empire guys.
For everybody at home,
I hated it immediately.
For everybody at home, this Flight Simulator Dan's talking about, diverting power is literally just the 3 buttons on the D-pad.
I know it is, but it's not what I thought that game was. I thought it was going to be Rogue Squadron because they called it Squadrons.
All right.
And it's not. It's a flight simulator.
Oh, there we go. Interada writes in and says, the final fight with Bowser had me questioning my ability to play games. No matter how many times I spun and counted and threw, he always missed the last bomb I needed. I died so many times. Thank goodness that one up mushroom was behind the pillar. Yeah. This final level was surprisingly generous with lives. I think a lot of it was just that final one-up mushroom always being hidden there. We should get to the level itself first, I guess, though. Anybody have any thoughts on this sucker?
I did the wrong
Oh, wow.
I just didn't want to do it again. I didn't want to do the level a second time. So it's like, and also, since I'm trying to get 3 stars every time, it's not technically a star when you beat it. So it's like, okay, well, I want to at least get the red coin star if I'm doing this, because I knew I had to play it for this. So,
that's tricky. Yeah. I think
what I like about this level is that I love how playful it is, like all the textures and like the background, and like it doesn't feel like a super duper scary last level. It feels more like a toy box that you're sort of rummaging through, because you have like the checkered, you have the stone, you have like the little Lego thing that you walk up the wall and you walk around. For some reason, that's like always like very fun for me. Like it's like a hard level. I struggle with like some of the platforming, but then when I got to the end too, I had this moment where I almost felt kind of bad, because I was like, oh, I've been like especially given the last section, I was like, oh, I've been on this game, but they just gave us a 1-up mushroom.
I know.
Here.
It's really generous.
Right. I felt kind of like ungrateful for
the game noticed.
This game.
I know what you're saying. There is something fun about even just like the colors of the last level. Obviously the background I think is cool, but then there's like color shifting platforms. Like as you go, it goes from like green to blue or whatever it is. Like as it changes there, it's a cool design. It's different than the other Bowser stuff out there.
Oh yeah. There's like the glowing steps at the end.
Right.
When you go from those pillars in the wind.
Yeah. That windy last stretch up there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's also maybe my favorite start to a music track in this game, where it's like as soon as it drops in, it's like bam, 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 bam. It's just very much sets the tone right away.
Mm-hmm. I do think that song is the best song in this game. Obviously, an amazing soundtrack, but I think that like Bowser level music is the best song.
So good.
And I like that Bowser. It's weird Bowser lore, as we've talked about in every episode here, but like when you encounter Bowser, he's not like Mario, my nemesis. It seems like you're an afterthought. He says, Mario, you again. I've been looking for something to fry with my fire breath. It just feels like, yeah, sure, whatever. I guess I'll kill you. It's not like you're his main obstacle in any way. He's above you.
He talks to you.
What's that?
I feel like
That was just a bad joke.
I didn't even hear what you said. You cut out. But hang on, Ronnie. Shut up. Let Anna repeat her bad joke so the recording can hear it.
No, let's hear it.
The joke was that's just like how Ronnie talks to you.
Chat's going wild. Chat's going wild.
Thanks for making me repeat that.
I genuinely didn't know what you said. That. Okay. Anyways, Ronnie, it's your turn.
I was just like back to the I guess like what we were saying a little bit earlier, which is just like they could have just made like every level an obstacle course. Well, I guess now thinking about it, that's kind of what every one of the Bowser levels are, is that they are just kind of this like ultimate, obstacle course that you're doing. And I had like, I must have done this a million times, because like as soon as I dropped into this, like I just went into this mode of just like, oh, I know this. Yeah. Like, and I did it well, except for this is the only time that I had to look up a guide. I could not find the 8th red coin.
Under the stairs.
Under the stairs.
It's always the last place
this
you look.
Weird, like it's like one of those. It's a red coin where either like you have to look at a walkthrough to find it, or you just sit down for 2 hours and you move the camera every which way in every place until you find it, because there's no indication that it's there.
Yeah.
Well, that was the only disappointing thing.
Last red coin, hypothetically, ever, if you were doing everything perfectly chronologically, is that the last one under the stairs?
Yeah. I want to say it's not like the very last, is it?
Oh, it's right before you go into the pipe. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost, maybe that's why.
Just to be a little dick right at the end. Yeah.
We're going to make you work for this last one.
They'll give you the green mushroom, but look, we're still going to hide some crap under a staircase.
Right, yeah.
BeatenDownBrian says, my strategy for Bowser since I was a kid is to shuffle him to the edge by tiny throws, grabbing him before he can get up until I'm close enough to a bomb to not lose accuracy. It all goes to crap when the stage becomes a star, though. I think I died more on this final fight than even Tock Clock. I think by the end, I just spun him around, closed my eyes, and let fate decide.
That's how my grandma used to merge onto the highway. She would close her eyes and...
Oh, no.
She's dead.
Oh, grandma. Tragic auto accident. I'm sorry.
14 car pileup. Easily avoided. Take that, grandmas. This Bowser fight I think was easier than the second one for whatever reason for me. I don't know. I didn't have too much of a...
No.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you have to do 3 times as much damage. He's got more of a move set. And now you can't do the thing where you like eke him out into the very end
because of the stars.
The star move, yeah.
Here's the thing: I was really bad at like timing the throw. Like I missed a bunch of times, but I don't think I ever died on that fight because I kind of feel like his stuff is pretty telegraphed and avoidable. He does the stomp. It's like, okay, jump over, get behind him. There's the slow moving fire. Like it's pretty easy to avoid his stuff and just stay away from the edge yourself. So even if you suck at the throwing, which I did, as long as you don't take damage, it's fine.
Well, yeah. And like I feel like the game is pretty generous with hitting those spiky ball things, like throwing him out. Like there was one time where I threw him and I was like, like that split second where you're like, I hope that like whatever the hitbox or whatever you want to call it, it's just wide enough that it hits. And it was fast enough that I'm like, oh, I hope it hits. I'm like, I don't think so. But then it did.
Oh, nice.
And so it's like, I don't know, at least with that, it's like, maybe, if you just time it, you just really go for it and you count on like that sort of
let it ride and hope the game is generous.
And I do remember like there were I remember this pretty distinctly, like there are a couple times where you just like, that's not gonna hit, like, oh, it hit, like it is pretty forgiving. Guess what, guys? 3 throws, 3 bombs.
Oh, doggy!
All right, yep.
Oh my God.
We did it.
Imagine your eyebrows flew off your forehead. We're all very impressed.
I said, honey, come look at this.
I don't care. It was weird that Bowser was all rainbow colored. Like his coloring was so weird and funky. I don't know if it was like bouncing off the level itself, or that was just his design this time around. But I also like that when you beat him, he says, "Arg, I can see peace returning to the world and I can't stand it." It's really fun. I was hoping you'd get to fly in the wing cap at the end. It sucks that it's all just a cutscene of getting the wing cap. Like, why not give you the wing cap? Let you just jump off the platform, triple jump at least, and then that can trigger the cutscene, you know?
Also, my thought was like seeing him fly off. I was like, wow, that looks so nice, which is not the experience that I've had with the wing cap. Like,
maybe it's best that we didn't have to control that. You know?
Just immediately run into the stairs.
I will say it's pretty cool once you get to a certain point in Galaxy, and it's not the wing cap, but it's the thing where you can fly around the hub world. Like, that's super fun.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, and then the cutscene goes on. It's my favorite romantic comedy. The star becomes Peach. Her voice is super low and weird. She's like, "Let's make a delicious cake for Mario." It's just like her
Mario.
Yeah, she's Julie Kavner. Let's see. So I'm trying to remember. Does it let you play? Like, it drops you in the outside area again? Is that all a cutscene?
It does the thing that old Nintendo games did, where it's like, hey, we're going to show you the end screen, and you have to like turn the system off. But in this, you can like hit the minus button and go back to the title selection.
Well, even before that then, though, like, you know, you got Toad on the alley. I think you get to run up there because Sincerely Eric says, "Can we take another moment to appreciate the opening area? I know when you lose all of your lives in the darkness of a Bowser battle or the long jump for all coins, it's frustrating, it's rage-inducing, and then bright colors, something soothing, green trees, and butterflies. I'm chasing butterflies around." So Eric just really liked that opening area.
Oh, it's great.
It's just
Has
lovely.
anybody on this call done the thing that I always heard urban legends about, and I know it's possible, where you can get to Yoshi before you get the 120 stars, where it's like you can do a thing where if you, from the start, where it drops you off, you run to the right of the castle, and there's like a steep green hill, and you can like kind of jump up it and then go down and kind of jump correctly, and you got to do a weird wall kick, and you can get on top of the castle with 0 stars. You can get up there and like Yoshi's up there, and it's possible.
This sounds
I remember
like
that was like a big thing in my school, is people would be like, I can do that. Yeah, I can get to the roof.
People did?
Oh, the like captain of the football team. Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like it's only at 120 stars that you start hearing Yoshi's footsteps. Like you start hearing that dot dot.
I could be wrong. Like maybe you don't see Yoshi if you do it that way, but you can definitely get to the top of the castle without beating the game.
Alex Mav writes in with something similar, saying, regarding the cannon to shoot yourself up the castle, I have a super weird memory from back in the day before Mario 64 released. I remember getting a VHS at Toys R Us that basically was a Mario 64 promo. I watched that tape a ton, and there was one part where they randomly showed a glitch. You were able to make jumps inside the castle in a specific way that glitched you up the castle. I was trying amateurishly to copy that move for hours.
Is that what you were talking about?
Able to.
I think so, yeah.
It's weird they'd have that in a promo video. Like somebody did it and just really wanted to show
I
off.
might have had that. If that was like Nintendo Power used to send out VHSs. I remember I got one for like Donkey Kong Country and Star Fox 64. And like I wonder if that was I don't know.
It could be. I was looking for it on YouTube and I couldn't find it. Joshua Duproy writes in and says, as someone who's played and completed this game multiple times, I completely forgot how it ended. I was taken aback from the creepy voice acting from Princess Peach, and what was up with that weird ass photo at the end that looked like a macabre miniature version of Mario and Peach just chilling on a cake? The screen just sits there and waits for you to do the whole Nintendo reset thing.
Yeah, it's like the mom from Hereditary was making that little miniature thing. It's recreating Mario 64.
Do you like it?
I just watched that. That's what I'm thinking.
I will say
very good movie.
The credits, the music is great.
Yes.
Sort of similar to the opening, when you choose your file. But also watching the credits really made me want, like, we started with this idea of sort of like miniatures, right? Now I just like want a Mario 64 builder game where I can just make like kind of like 90s, Mario 64 inspired worlds where it's like basically Mario Maker, except like 3D Mario, but old 3D Mario. And I can just make like fun little like dioramas. And then maybe people could play them. But
you have to imagine that's on a billboard, or not billboard, a whiteboard somewhere.
Oh crap, we put it on the billboard!
Oh yeah.
Get it down, those are secrets!
The billboard broke the embargo.
Let's pay $400 a month for this to be up over a highway.
Well, I mean, with stuff like, Dreams and everything, like it seems like that is something they could do. And I don't know the sales numbers, but Mario Maker seems like a success to me. Like a 3D
they
Mario
made a sequel.
Maker. Yeah. Even if it is just like, I don't know, those 3D ones are so different though.
Yeah.
It's easy to swap out the 2D one. Well, not easy.
Yeah.
Look, I don't make games. But it's 2D side scrollers, whereas Sunshine, Galaxy, 64 are so different in mechanics.
But what I like about this, I think it would be really fun just as a creative exercise, not just as like I'm doing level design, because with like Mario Maker, it is like obviously level design. Like obviously there's like fun creative stuff as well that's like, interesting or kind of like offbeat or whatever. But I was like, this would just be like, this just seems like a nice relaxing thing, that sort of ties back to, a game that I played when I was young.
Yeah. I get like the diorama building aspect of it. I don't think I'd want to play the levels, but I would like to build a cute Mario 64 diorama. Yeah. What stood out to me about the credits is, music is great. But then this fella, I'm always looking just for interview opportunities for any like Western devs that worked on it. And Giles Goddard is in the credits.
Yes.
That he did the programming on the face. And he also worked on like 1080 and Star Fox and stuff. And he worked on Steel Diver. I tried reaching out to him to see if we could get an interview, but no response from Twitter at least, but we'll see how we do.
It's my favorite type of Nintendo ending to a game where it's like, hey, let's just look back at all this fun we had and all these fun characters, play this music. They're all waving at the camera like, thanks for what you did, Mario. Like Zelda, like Link to the Past did this great. Ocarina, Majora, all that stuff is awesome. Ronnie, how's things going?
Just
for the audio listeners, Ronnie's camera, his Lakitu flew out of his bedroom. No one quite knows what's going on.
Just hit his head on the table and passed out.
Doomia wrote in and says, after 120 stars, Yoshi's on top of the castle. What? Then if you talk to him, he gives you 99 lives. Then he just yeets himself off the side of the castle to kill himself. It's a super weird little Easter egg after the game.
Okay, thank you for introducing yeets into the MinnMax vernacular. I take this as a green light to use that as a verb from this point on.
And then Mark Garcia says, well, this is one of my favorite games of all time. Can we talk about how annoying it is that you can't retain all the lives you've accumulated if you save, quit, and then pick the game back up later?
Yeah.
It's annoying for sure.
It's crazy.
It's like every time, like if it's you do something and it's like, here's 5 1-ups, which again happens more in like Galaxy and stuff, different game. But like it's very obnoxious. It feels like it's not real. Where it's like, well, great, thanks, Toad, but I'm not going to be able to use these.
Yeah, but then he says, it's especially annoying as they are much needed in some of these later levels. Also, thanks to Yoshi for giving me 100 lives after I've 100%ed the game. I have nothing to do with those.
Literally nothing.
That's so silly. Zachary Sweet writes in with something mind-boggling to me. He says, hello, everyone. Did you know that if you get all 120 stars, the penguin from Big Penguin Race becomes twice the original size?
No.
I have no idea why Nintendo included this in the list of bonuses for a full completion, but it's funny to see. It's true. I looked it up. The Big Penguin Race penguin becomes huge. It's a tough thing to Google.
How does he fit? There's a roof on that cabin.
I don't know. To be fair, it was just like a text thing. In there. I didn't see a picture of it, but I saw a text thing that said it's one of the changes.
Oh, he gets fat. He gets really fat.
Oh,
so it's not tall. He just gets So
like
Mario's
weird.
Or 120 stars. Sorry.
No,
don't mind me. I'm just reading
see this.
Everything out as I type it.
Everyone's gonna see the chubby penguin.
For real.
That's
crazy.
So weird. It's like in the peaceful times, he just has too much food and then just becomes a big fat penguin. Is that the idea?
I guess so.
Kind of a weird thing.
I love the title to this YouTube video. It's just Super Mario 64 : walkthrough parentheses fat penguin race.
Hell yeah. They got us. Okay, Ben Fitter in the community has a great comment that he left here on Patreon because he went a certain scientific route to figure out the best and worst stages in Super Mario 64. He had the MinnMax community rank it in like a survey. So we have, this is a hive mind ranking of people that played along and what they think the level order is. Does anybody want to guess what the number one level is?
Wait, best
on Battlefield?
Best.
Like you're saying the best.
That's right.
Ooh.
I'm going to say Bob on Battlefield.
Man.
I feel like it's going to make us angry.
No, that'll come later.
Oh, no.
Yeah, probably Bob-omb.
It is Bob-omb. Yeah. Number 2, Mom's Fortress, very, very linear here.
Okay.
Number 3 is odd. Ronnie, by the way, your camera's just way too low. If there's anything you can do just to just sink into your chair. Yeah, okay, great. We need to see those beautiful eyes. Okay, number 3. It's an odd one. I mean, yeah, okay.
Big Boo's Mansion?
No, that's number 4. Good guess. Okay. That is a weird one.
Oh, that is good.
We liked this level, but saying it's top 3, I like it probably the most out of anybody, but it's a weird one.
Tall?
Nope.
Is it a water one? Is it
kind of?
Dire, kind of.
Oh, Wet Dry.
Wet Dry, yeah.
Oh, Wet Dry.
Wet Dry is number 3, and then
I believe it. I believe it.
Number 5 is Cool Mountain. Number 6, Tall Mountain. A lot of mountains. Then Lethal Lava Land, Jolly Roger Bay, Tick-Tock Clock, Shifting Sandland, Tiny Huge Island, Snowman's Land, Dire Docks. Rainbow Ride is 14. Seems way too low. And 15, of course, our boy, the Hazy Maze Cave.
Good. You got a good community here, Hanson.
Yeah, they seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, good folks.
Thanks to Ben Fitter for putting that together. Ian Clark says, in this final chunk of the game, I thought the stages had some of the most conceptually interesting gimmicks and mechanics, even if the execution didn't always nail it. It's a great way to put it, Ian. For instance, I really love Tiny Huge Island and the ability it gives you to essentially swap the geometry scale, and I wish they'd done more with the concept. Got me thinking, are there any of these stages or stage concepts from the game that you'd love to see revisited with an Odyssey-style production value?
Tiny Huge.
It is probably the best option here. Yeah. Wet Dry, I guess.
That'd be awesome.
Pack more puzzles into there if they really wanted to, but
imagine like the detail, like Nintendo stuff looks so good in HD, and so imagine just like a Goomba that is just gigantic, like with the Odyssey engine.
Yeah, absolutely. Biscotine
Lava Land.
Oh, I'm sorry. The answer is Lava Land, Ronnie.
Yeah, I feel like that would be really cool too.
Yeah, you can feel the lava.
Or actually, even honestly, well, Sand World. I think that would actually be really cool to see in modern day Mario's.
It would be, but you'd see those hands with the eyes in them, and you'd get scared.
No, we're used to hands and eyes. We're gamers. Come on.
We love hands and eyes.
That's like a staple of. That's like a canned boss right there.
Yeah, you're right. When we watch Pan's Labyrinth, we're like, no big whoop.
They used to scare me, but not anymore.
Bongo on Ocarina.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
You did it, Dan.
Good point.
Captain of Insight. Biscuitine Trisket writes in, and he's a real historian. He says, on the 7th episode, apparently, of the MinnMax Show podcast, Henrik Jacobson wrote in asking which Mario 64 level you would choose to live in if you had to pick one. Hanson, your answer was Wet Dry World. Would you still choose that level now that you've visited all the levels? No, I would probably drown in Wet Dry World. And those bugs would be terrible.
Bob-omb Battlefield, because I could surf on the shell and not feel like I was in danger of dying. Because there's a few.
But you get bombed all the time.
There's a lot of
stay away from that neck of the woods.
I think Telltale Mountain would be risky, but like very nice, pastoral mountain life, like good air.
That's true.
I guess there are no cabins there, but
you could live in the cave with a slide.
I would want to have a picnic on one of those mushrooms if there was like a safety net of some sort.
Yeah. And it'd be like a James and the Giant Peach situation where it's like, oh, we forgot our food. No bother. And then we just scoop up a big chunk of the mushroom. And,
Yeah. It's like, hey, let's go see the monkeys. There's like a zoo there,
Yeah.
There's a zoo.
And there's a beautiful waterfall. Like, there's a lot to see.
There's a slide. There's a damn slide.
Yeah, a slide.
Yeah.
And like that little red coin area with the green moss, like you can climb. It's like a jungle gym.
Right,
totally.
Right. It's weird. Biscuitine Trisket, he says, Ronnie, you're condemned to live in Tick-Tock Clock for the rest of eternity. So... seems alarming. Henrik Mortensen says, I find it odd that almost half the worlds are not entered through real individual paintings. Rainbow Ride is entered through some random hole, and Snowman's Land just has the same picture as Cool Mountain, only that it's
and a weird hazy maze like a T1000 dupe you get into.
Yeah, it is weird that we always associate with like, oh, of course, it's the painting game where you jump in the paintings to go to the levels. And it's like, yeah, half of those, not the case. And then he says that the credits music is one of the greatest compositions in music ever. Yeah,
it really is. It was very nostalgic to hear that.
It's very good.
Freebird's pretty good.
Yeah, Beethoven's Fifth, Freebird, and the credit music to Super Mario 64. Eric Angel says, don't get me wrong, the music in this game is fantastic, but too many end levels reuse earlier music, and it's made worse when I'm hearing the same song after dying in Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride over and over and over. This is my first time playing the game, and I definitely didn't love it as much as the rest of the gaming community. However, it was still good and crazy to imagine what they pulled off in 1996. All in all, I'm glad I played it.
Yeah, that little the slide theme. It's a little much.
It's still fun, but yes, I hear you. Bryan is very smart. Bryan Londrigan writes in and says, I've heard a lot of talk about this much loved "so long a Bowser" phrase being removed. This is because the version of Super Mario 64 and 3D All-Stars is based on the Japanese update release Shindo Pack Edition, which primarily sought to add rumble support, but also fix some glitches and change some voice lines. So there's actually a reason this was an older version.
Was that a 64 DD thing? Like there were 64 DD updates to some games.
Whenever I'm confused about anything about the Nintendo line of history, I just assume it's a 64 DD thing.
DD, yeah.
It's got to be a DD thing. Phoenix Rogue says, I've completed for the first time my 120-star run of Super Mario 64. Which enemy in the game killed you the most? For me, I don't know if it counts, but clearly the stupid Lakitu holding the camera killed me the most often. If this was a Call of Duty game, Lakitu would be on top of the leaderboard.
The inclines.
The what?
Slides.
Yeah.
But enemy.
Oh, right.
If this counts, like any kind of like moving flame, because it's or either that or like the shocking things that go around where it's like, crap, if that thing hits me, I'm going to lose control of Mario on this tiny ass platform and fall to my death.
Yeah.
Overrated because they're like the main enemy. And like, for me, it's just like they've never threatened me. They've never killed me. Maybe they're just misunderstood.
Wait, sorry, you cut out. What is the main enemy?
Goombas.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they're chumps. No problem there.
I love them.
I'm trying to think of what. I mean, you got to love them, but.
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't know if an enemy actually ever killed me. It was always the stage.
Yeah,
the greatest enemy of all. Yeah, basic geometry.
Speaking of Goombas, the thing that cracked me up recently was I've never really played Dr. Mario World on iOS. But are you familiar with what they're doing with like enemies and stuff like that? There's like a million doctor versions.
Yeah, it's like, everything is a doctor. They have like Dr. Tiny Huge Island at this point. Yeah.
No, it's Dr. Goomba Tower specifically is what cracked me up. That is a really funny collection of words. And it's just a Goomba Tower with like a stethoscope and a coat. Yeah.
Dr. Goomba Tower to surgery. Dr. Goomba Tower to surgery.
Dr. Baby Wario.
So stupid. Kyle Silva writes in, says, I've been playing Super Mario Brothers 35, and it made me think about how most of the original enemies of Super Mario Brothers made the conversion from 2D to 3D, with the exception of 4 of them. Koopa, Paratroopa, Blooper, Hammer Bro, and Buzzy Beetle. Blooper and Hammer Bro would eventually get their apology in the form of being in Mario Party 8, while Paratroopers have been invited to Mario Tennis, Mario Kart. But Buzzy Beetles are still treated with disrespect, having not appeared in any of the 3D Mario games.
Bloopers are in Sunshine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. But Buzzy Beetles.
Blooper, of course.
Yeah. Oh, Buzzy Beetles. Yeah, you're totally right.
They're in Paper Mario series, but they're not in any of the 3D platformers, which is really
not
weird.
Charismatic enough.
Yeah, they got to show more of that face.
True.
I always get mixed up with Rocky Wrench and Monty Mole. One of them is in Mario 64. I think it's a Monty Mole. I think Rocky Wrench has gone by the wayside.
That's right. And Dan,
you're totally right. Monty Mole did make it in. He made the cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Dan, who is the second president? It's not important.
One of the Adams? John Quincy? No, John Quincy was 7.
Monty Mole.
John Adams. John Adams.
The answer was Monty Mole. Deep Space Trace says, I played through this baby on the DS instead of the Switch, and I'm really glad I did it. If I didn't have the variety of switching between Mario, Yoshi, Luigi, and Wario, I don't know that I would have made it all the way through the game. To be honest, I used Mario as little as possible, as the other characters had abilities that were way more useful, like Luigi's backflip jump with a slow spinning landing.
Yeah, can I talk about this?
Yes.
Mainly how salty I am, because like they could have ported. I think they could. Well, actually, no, that is not true. But what I'm going to say is there's a lot I like about the DS version.
Yeah,
and is that I think that the camera actually works better because you have the touch screen and you can change it at any point. And yeah, the Luigi backflip is like the rotating, like you jumped on one of those like whatever, you know?
Oh, like the spinny thingies?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
interesting.
He gets that even for his backflip. And, you know, with Yoshi, you get the extra, you know, like air time. And like, it's a little harder because like there's some stars that it's like, okay, you need to be Wario. Because like only Wario can get metal Wario. Because, you know, like Mario can get like the whatever, invisible, the metal, the flying. But in the DS version, each character has their own special power. And so like some stars can only be gotten by specific characters. So that's like a little hard because sometimes you're like, it leads you to question something a little more than you should because you're like, wait, do I need like metal Wario to like, walk through the air? Because I know in that version, that's how I got that star when I played the DS version is you can be Metal Wario and the wind doesn't blow you.
Oh, cool.
But like, the game holds up really well. Also, even just having the map there the entire time.
Oh, that would be
very
I mean,
nice.
The levels are small, but still, it would be nice to have, especially Hazy Maze Cave. I guess having that map would be awesome.
And the star is marked, and so you can just like check them off really nicely.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Nice. That's my little shtick.
No,
I know I talk a little too much about the DS version.
No, you're on a DS after all. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's my namesake. That's my namesake. I gotta support it.
I remember there was a weird sentiment towards that DS one when it came out. Because I'm ancient, I remember reviewing that when it came out, and people were pissed because the DS everyone was excited for and skeptical because they didn't know if the two screens thing would be, you know, would matter. And Mario 64 DS didn't use it that well, and the launch was terrible. There wasn't a lot of games for the DS at launch. There's like Field of Magic XXXY. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
The Samus demo.
Oh, yeah. Right, and then Mario 64. So it's like, wait, you're launching with a port of a game that came out on the Nintendo 64 years ago.
Well, Metroid
so, like,
Prime Hunters was launched,
like a remaster. Well, I don't know whatever like the semantics, but they added 30 stars to it.
That's crazy.
They did.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so in hindsight, like I think that's such an awesome thing. I think Mario 64 DS is awesome. But at the time when people wanted more of a launch lineup, they were like, wait, they're just kind of rehashing this game. Yeah. People were down on it at first.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Because like I was a kid and I had never played Mario 64 like in its entirety. Like I get kind of tastes like when I go, my grandparents had it at their place. So I would play it in like little spurts. But for me, I was like, oh, I get to play like, I think that was my first 3D Mario. Or wait, what would have been? Oh no, my bad. I played Sunshine. I'm like not thinking, but still, I was like, I get to play 3D Mario portable.
Yeah. And Tim Lara writes in saying, it hasn't come up yet, but I wanted to mention the most unnecessary addition to the DS version, the mini-games. You can unlock mini-games by grabbing the newly added rabbits around the castle, then you play them from the main menu. Most of them are garbage, to put it lightly, though some of the twitchy Mario levels aren't bad. The worst are the Luigi card games that manage to be unwinnable, unlosable, and uninteresting, leading to an eternal purgatory only Luigi can provide.
And that's the thing, is they were trying to like show off the DS hardware and like touchscreen stuff and everything.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like these like mini game horse things that came along with it. And it's like, this is not what people liked about Mario 64.
There was it's interesting because you could do some of them multiplayer, and so you could do DS download play and almost have like a weird Mario Party.
Yeah.
But I just want to take a moment to acknowledge my favorite minigame of all time. There's this one, and it's just like a flower, and you're Yoshi, and it's just like loves me not, and you're just picking.
Oh, that's right! Oh my god!
Stylus. And I just like thought that I was a kid, and I was even like, "Why is this a game?" But I played it. I thought it was fun.
This is romance. What a weird thing.
Yoshi.
Who do you think the first person on Earth was to do that loves me not thing with a flower? Does that come from like a book or Shakespeare?
Probably a reference.
Jimmy Carter.
His first inaugural address is a weird choice.
He loves me.
That's a great impression.
I have no idea.
I don't think anyone has a good Jimmy Carter impression.
Ben might. Ben?
I think it goes a little something like this. He loves me.
Hey,
Clint
Ben,
Eastwood?
Ben, do Jimmy Carter imitating Mario.
Well, I think it'd go a little something like this. Oh, hell.
You sound like John Marston.
That's what I would have done too.
Yeah, killing it. Ben Reeves wrote in. Oh my God. I saw this comment.
Is that Ben Reeves?
Yeah, I kept seeing this comment and it kills me. Ben Reeves wrote in, dear friend of the show, host of the Wonderful Game Informer Show podcast, and he says, hey guys, I'm playing Mario 64 on a DS, and I have to say I think I prefer the DS version of the game. I originally played on the 64, so it's been fun to revisit the game with more characters. However, sometimes I jump into a world knowing how to get a certain star, but I can't because I need a different character to access it. It's cool how Nintendo added all this stuff to a re-release of the game, and sad you can't play this version on the Switch. Anyway, here are some fun facts I found to celebrate the superior DS version. Super Mario 64 DS is originally called as Super Mario 64x4. Need to edit your comment, Reese. The developers originally planned to use together all 4 playable characters when fighting Bowser in the final battle. They redesigned some of the enemies in the game, but the Chill Bully boss from Snowman's Land was just a blue-looking ball. But on a DS, he has a mustache.
Really?
Okay, I didn't know that. That's superior knowledge.
Oh, thank you, Reese. Thanks for replaying this game. It's been more fun than expected.
Oh.
Keep at it. You can do it, he says. Thank you. Thank you.
It's Chief Chili, and it's a big, it's like he's old. It's like a big gray mustache, and he has angry gray eyebrows. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. You okay over there, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, no big deal. Nick Mantagani. For the audio listeners, again, Ronnie, I don't know if he's in some sort of whirlwind, but something is making his camera. Like, can you point the camera at what you're setting it on, Ronnie? Is it just like a drinking water bird?
Yeah, show us.
I'm not going to show you guys.
Okay. Nick Montagani writes in, I expect to be the only person saying this in these comments, but now that we've reached the end, I feel reassured in saying Super Mario 64 remains my favorite game of all time. I can't disagree with many of the criticisms I've heard so far, and I know other Mario games have passed in terms of controls, but for me, you just can't beat the drive to 120 and the intrigue surrounding each star. I just don't think any game will ever bring me more joy than this one has since day one. P.S. I don't think we've done a sufficient job of grilling Dan for his assessment of which Mario games are mainline Mario games. Don't give in, Nick. He just wants the attention. Don't give in.
It's correct. It's correct.
McManga writes in.
I want to follow up on what he said about this being his favorite game of all time. Like, I know we've on a lot of this stuff, and there are things that have not aged well. But I really think, especially we're coming up on a new console generation, and we're always excited about, what's the new UI? How's the graphics? Oh, it's 60 FPS, 4K, and all that. I really don't know if we can ever have a jump as big as the first time we played Mario 64.
No.
I'm old enough to know that moment of like, oh my God, we went from like Mario World to this, and it was just a complete game changer in a way that, like, there have been lots of big jumps before where it's like, oh my God, this is so much better than anything we've ever seen before, but not on the level of Mario 64, which just changed what games were capable of.
I agree. Yeah. To play devil's advocate, shut up. No, what about, there's something about the first time you try VR. There's something where it's just a new level. I think it's the closest I've ever had to this leap. And I'm sure people out there could make the argument that it is technically bigger for fully being able to trick your effing brain about what it's doing and what it's sensing. That seems huge.
Those early like PAX and E3 demos I did of the Oculus were like kind of on that level where it's like you can't help but think about what's possible now. And like some of those like bombcasts and stuff I did right after those like demos of the Oculus were on that level of like, it's a different world now. Games are different now. And then, but yet, I've got this thing behind me. That's my Oculus Quest sitting here, and it has not really come out. I have never played a game that did anything for me. It never delivered. It never delivered.
Yeah.
VR, not to say it never can, because it can, but it has.
Right. To me, the difference is that like they came right out of the gate with a game that was 120 stars versus like something that says like, yeah, hey, we got capability over, we got potential. Here's a demo of all that potential, but like it's still sitting on Dan's shelf, and it really, I don't know if it ever lived up to what we saw in 1996 with the N64 coming out.
Yeah, and it could get there, but like with 64, it was a fully fledged game, and it really did change things immediately. Like everything from that September 96 moment on, it's like, okay, you can see its influence constantly. It nailed it. It's still super fun to play. Like, I know it's got its problems, and we can complain about it and laugh about it here, but like, it's an awesome game.
Yeah. I had a blast doing this. Mm-hmm. This has been so much fun. It's been so much fun because like I didn't play on the DS version. I didn't play like the last time that I played this was on the N64. So like this has been like incredible to go back to.
Yeah. Mick Manga. Well, go ahead, Anna.
Oh no, and I feel like we talked about this on the MinnMax show one time of like the question was like getting something right the first time.
Yeah.
And like we have Odyssey, which I feel like between Odyssey and Galaxy 2, right? Like there were a lot of like meaningful, improvements, the sort of open world that was like new. But like the core of 64 is still there, and that's like pretty amazing.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to last this long. Absolutely. Mick Manga says, one thing I love about Super Mario 64 is its length. It's just the right size to be easily replayable. You can rack up stars quickly, and yet most stars still manage to feel satisfying to get. It's been a blast to revisit a classic, flaws and all. Hopefully this won't be the last Mario game to get a deep dive. Yeah, who can say? I don't know what the next one would be, but maybe if they make...
Have you guys played Sunshine? You guys played Mario Sunshine?
I'll play Sunshine.
I asked Hansen to play Ben, sorry. I don't know. Sometimes I switch. Because other people switch, and I didn't know you were Game Informer, but where all the Bens were. But wait, yeah, there was another Ben there. I had to check myself for a second.
What are you talking about, Anna?
I'm sorry. I'm getting lost. My point is that I just wanted to say that I wish we also did a deepest dive on Sunshine. But I guess like 64 is the classic, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and like, I was debating what to do because like, I'd rather do Galaxy, but 64 might be the most popular that people are playing right out of the gate. And so before we announced the deepest dive, I did have like a subtle Twitter poll of like, when you get 3D All-Stars, what game are you playing first? And it was like 64 by a landslide. 64, it's like, okay, well, that locks it in.
I have been encouraged by the amount of people I've seen on Twitter and in my chat say that like, oh, okay, going back to Sunshine, it's a better game than I gave it credit for. It's got its flaws for sure, but I think most people that I've talked to agree that it is a better game than 64 in terms of how it's aged.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I've got a couple comments along those lines as well. Saint 1947 writes in and says, did the end of the game make anyone else really sad? Between this and the end of Ocarina of Time, I found myself quitting the game early because I didn't want to say goodbye.
Oh.
I just kept thinking about those water bugs, and they got a tough life,
I did have this weird moment, like after I got 120 stars, went up, hung out with Yoshi. He asked me, just never mind.
And take two.
and then afterwards, like I just walked around like the courtyard area, like or the the front part, and I just like. I had this moment of just like, man, I spent so much time playing this game. And even just like in the main like area where you can, like after you get 120 stars, like you go up on the top and you have a flight cap up there and you can just like fly around like the main area. Like it feels like such a great victory lap.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how much you played of Odyssey, but like when you get back to that area, oh my God, what a feeling when it's like, it's playing that music and you're in the castle courtyard again.
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah.
So good.
I feel like I need to boot that up tonight and go back to revisit that section because it's been a while since
it's good.
I've played that.
It's really good.
Yeah. Hey, thank you all for joining us in this adventure. Everybody that called in that talked about Super Mario 64 for 6 hours plus. That's amazing. Hopefully we gave this game the justice it deserves and the discussion it deserves. And thank you to everybody that supports the deepest dive. Thank you to everybody that submits comments by supporting us at any tier on Patreon or unlocks the podcast version. We will do more in the future. We will do some big fall games. I think we know what it's going to be, but that's going to be coming up soon. That should be a fun time. So if you like the format, please support the format. Please tell a friend about the format because we like the format. Dan?
Yes.
We're announcing our next deepest dive. We're doing this one, let's see, starting on the 20th. So the first episode of the next deepest dive is going to air October 21st. Do you know what we're doing?
Is it a current game?
Dan, what if I told you 'tis no game at all? Well,
what are you doing?
What if I told you it kind of is going to cover one game? I've always wanted to do this. We are expanding the Deepest Dive beyond games for the next Deepest Dive discussion. We're doing the Deepest Dive on The Thing. So for the next Deepest Dive, the episode that's going to be airing October 21st, we're covering the original short story from 1938, the original film from 1951, which I've seen once and it's cool. Like it holds up too. Then the second episode on October 26th, we're covering, of course, the classic John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. And then the episode after that, we're covering The Thing video game, the tabletop game, and the prequel film from 2011, and other influences and impacts in the game industry. Dan, you're nodding slowly.
That's interesting. That's a interesting angle on that, because I forgot. Like, I've only seen the Carpenter movie.
Yeah,
and I forget that there's all these other different. I forgot that they made like a new one. So that's a cool angle.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've never seen the new film. I'm excited to unpack this and talk about it with the community. It's nice to get some.
I'm curious to see, because so much of what I think is cool about that first thing movie, but the 80s one, is that it's John Carpenter, Kurt Russell. Like two of the coolest damn things to come out of the 80s. And so I just wonder, like, the prequel movie came out a few years ago with a bunch of yahoos in it that no one knows. I'm curious if that's any good. It's probably very talented people. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. Yeah, we'll talk
Kurt
about
Russell
it.
And John Carpenter.
Yes. So I'm excited to hear your feedback about us branching out beyond games to have the first multimedia Deepest Dive. I think it's going to be a really fun discussion. So you can support us at any tier and submit a comment and read the story along with us. They have like an ebook version, Audible version, all that fun stuff. And The Thing from Another World, which is the 1951 movie that is on Amazon Prime, so it should be easy to get. But again, thank you to everybody. We have that t-shirt you can find at the MinnMax merch store that celebrates the Deepest Dive in Super Mario 64. We'd appreciate it if you got it and shredded your stuff in it. I'm sorry to end on that note. Again, thank you to everybody that submitted a wonderful comment. It's been a fun ride. And Ronnie, would you like to send us off into the starry night sky?
Goodbye!
Bye, everybody. MinnMax is a Patreon about games, friends, and getting better. The Deepest Dive is the best, most thorough discussions about games on the internet. Prove us wrong, please. The MinnMax Show podcast airs every Thursday. Patreon supporters vote on what we stream every single week, and a whole lot more. Give us a shot, try subscribing to the YouTube channel, and we hope we can win you over.